I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
You just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it, asshole?
Don't be afraid. It's just an asshole.
What are you going to do about it, asshole? Do about it, asshole.
All right. Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the true north. Hey, it's a good friend, Mr. BDA, flying solo for the moment. We'll be getting to all the juicy stuff in a bit, but before we do that, we're gonna be, like I told you, we're gonna be previewing the Barrios versus Tank Davis fight that's gonna be taking place tomorrow on pay-per-view. If you are so inclined to watch it, it's a nice little event, why not? It's got a solid card, and the main event, I believe, it's quite intriguing. So we're gonna get to that, but before we get to the fun, let's get the business out of the way, fellas. If you have not subscribed already, make sure you do so, really helps us out. Make sure to hit the like button as well, really helps us out as well. And if you got a couple of shekels that you can send our way via the Super Chat feature or the Patreon page or the PayPal page, that always works as well. But of course, the most important thing is that you continue to support us and to spread the BDA gospel. Alright? It was decreed, and so it shall be enacted on earth as it is on heaven. Fellas, thank you for joining us. Want to give a shout out to the Fight Scout, Richard Humongous, Blue Collar Sports TV, aka Delboy, Ivan Georgiev, Iceman, Chris K, G Boogie. Shout out to G Boogie, the original Boogie, that is. One Foot Out the Door, who just donated the super chat. Shout out to One Foot Out the Door, says chipping in. Thank you, man. Thank you. That's what we do over here. We chip away until we get ourselves a nice sculpture. And not one of those gay Italian sculptures either. The one with naked guys. No. We're talking sexy, big ass, big titty statues. Am I going a little bit too far? Maybe I am. But let me tell you why. It's because we are looking forward to boxing here tomorrow night. A lot of boxing. So shout out to you fellas. Let me see if anybody wants in here on the Discord, and we will get started because, again, everybody weighed in. Lomachenko versus Nakatani, Davis versus Barrios, and as far as I gather, everything went according to plan. So we've got ourselves some fights. Tank Davis looking strong, by the way, fellas. Let me show you here. But first, I'm calling a couple of people. See who wants on board. And once we are done with that, we will get together. All right, Double L says BDA is sus. I think he means suspect. Nothing suspect about me, my friend. I'm an open book. Am I a degenerate? Absolutely. But I put it all out there, baby. I don't hide things. Speaking of hiding things, as I'm placing the phone calls, I might be opening up the phone lines too as well, fellas, so you can call in and give us your thoughts on everything going on here. I'm trying to find information on the weigh-in. Fight News Boxing Scene has yet to update their page. They don't have any weigh-in. Okay, so here we go. So if we go to Fight News, we got ourselves the official weights. The weight, rather, for both fellas. As you can see here, both men made the weight. Barrios and Tank Davis. Look, I don't know. Listen, it's a photograph. It's kind of hard to tell. Tank Davis looks strong, man. He weighed in at 139.75 pounds. Barrios weighed in at 139.5. But of course, the most apparent thing for both fellas is the fact that height advantage for Barrios. Look at that. In fact, I believe I have another photograph here that might illustrate this in a more convincing. Well, actually, this is from the press conference that they had earlier this week. Now, again, they're both wearing sneakers, I believe. Maybe sandals. I don't know. If you go for the sandal lifestyle, which also takes away some of the height. But you can tell that there's a big height discrepancy here. It's interesting. We're having two main events where the height and reach advantage for one guy is quite substantial. Nakatani versus Lopez, and then, of course, Barrios versus Davis. Will it play a factor in the fights? The Virgil Hunter said something quite interesting during the build-up to the Andrew Ward Chad Dawson fight in 2012. He said, height and reach is all nice and good if you know how to use it. Nakatani knows how to use it a little bit, but we don't know how he acts when he's being backed up. Barrios, we know how he acts when he's being backed up, which is a little bit of the problem. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at here with some clips. We're going to be breaking down the Barrios Tank Davis fight, what each man needs to do to win. And I think it's going to be an interesting fight, man. I was thinking about that. I'm in the camp of people that believes that things could get complicated for Tank Davis. I think he might come out on top. But even if he does come out on top, he's going to have to take leather early in order to get that win. Let me see what people are saying in the comment section. Oh yeah, Julio Cesar Martinez is fighting tomorrow as well, says Richard Humongous. This dude can bang in the pocket. Reminds me a little bit of Fernando Montiel. I gotta tell you, he's got that crazy jerky style, no jabs, leads with hooks. Very reminiscent of El Cochulito. 1 foot out the door says Martinez versus Cordova on the zone tomorrow. Yes, indeed, I believe. Iceman says Barrios was beaten up already, kind of bad. Yeah, but he's young, he's big, he's a legit 140-pounder, so I'm interested to see what happens with that one. Wayne Hennessy says I'm interested in the Tank fight. Richard Humongous says this is a winner take on Josh Taylor. If you're talking about the Davis Barrios fight, I kind of doubt it, man. I don't see Tank Davis going over with Top Rank to make that fight. I mean, I don't see anybody in the PBC right now making deals with Top Rank. One thing that I do want to talk about here, and I'm going to put up these stats because before we get to the clips, I think it's very important for me to break down why I think Barrios is going to give Davis a tough fight. Davis has relied a lot on his power in some of his top fights. He stops guys, for sure. He stopped Gamboa, something Devin Haney couldn't do. He stopped Pedraza, something Lomachenko couldn't do. And he stopped Santa Cruz, knocked him out cold with an uppercut. But if you look at his fights, he doesn't really tend to throw that many shots because those huge punches of his add up. And so he's very content with catching guys here and there, a little bit on the spot, in a couple of spots, and that's how he breaks them down. Not the most active guy in the world. So let me show you the CompuBox. Well, not CompuBox, the punch stats. Again, they're not exact, but they usually let us know a little bit of what's going on. So if you look at here, this is against Gamboa. This is about the longest that Davis has gone into a fight. He went deep into the 12th round. Take a look at the total punches thrown. You see there in the lower portion, punches landed / thrown. For Davis, he threw 321 punches. Not very active. Not very active at all. Gamboa threw 617 and landed 78. A paltry 13% connect rate. Whereas Tank Davis, quite a good percentage, 37%. That was a fight in which he was fighting a guy about his own height. Didn't really have to do much in there. Didn't really have to go chasing after Gamboa because he was catching him with clean shots here and there. Dropped him a bunch of times, so he was well ahead on the scorecard. So if you can say, hey, listen, he didn't need to throw that many shots, all right, we can go with that. Then we go into the Santa Cruz fight, which was getting a little bit more complicated than I suspect he intended it to. Punch stats, Davis threw 227. Fight ended in the 6th round, by the way. Santa Cruz threw 390. So 227. Let's say the fight would have gone into the 12th round like it did with Gamboa. Let's say Davis doubles that output. It's about 400 shots per round. Okay. So not the most active guy in the world, especially in a fight in which he really had to put the pedal to the metal, as they say. And then we get to the Pedraza fight. As far as I can tell, has been Tank at his most active. He threw, 403 shots. The fight ended in the 7th round, I believe. So he threw 414 shots. No, sorry, excuse me, 403. 403, Pedraza threw 414. Why did Tank Davis throw more shots in this fight? Well, Pedraza stood in front of him. So Davis had a clear target in front of him, and I can only suspect and assume that it's because, hey, I got a target in front of me, let me go after it, which he did. But now here's the big question is, what happens if he takes on Barrios and he hits him with the usual shots and Barrios doesn't go anywhere? Is Tank Davis going to be able to up that output, or is it going to stay along the same lines? Now, the other side to that coin is he doesn't have to make 130 or 135 anymore, quite comfortable at 139. Maybe he lets his shots go enough. The reality is Tank Davis is a very stocky fella. That type of guy, you're not going to usually see guys built like him throw 500, 600 shots around. Akhmedov, that's what he did in the Barrios fight. Excuse me, I'm trying to look up the numbers here. He threw about 900 shots. I don't have it in front of me, but that's what I read when I was looking up those numbers. So Akhmedov put a bit of a beating on Barrios late in the fight, but that was because he was so active. So are the precision depth charges that Tank brings to the ring, are those going to be enough to wear Barrios down? And if they're not, can Barrios' clean shots get him the win if it goes a distance? It's going to be very interesting to see, fellas. Very interesting to see. So, without further ado, by the way, if any of the regulars want to jump in, you guys let me know on the Discord, because I can't be looking at two things at the same time here. So you let me know, call in, contact me on Discord, and we'll get down to it. What I'm going to do too is I'm going to be opening up the phone lines right now. And let me see if I can do two things at the same time here. I'm going to read some comments as well. Yes, indeed. And by the way, I'm curious. Let me know, fellas. How many people in the chat are going to be purchasing the Tank Davis fight? How many are going to decide to just stick to the ESPN card, which is Lomachenko-Nakatani? Let me know. Meanwhile, I'm setting this stuff up here. All right, let me go to the chat here. Shepard says, Barrios knocks Tank out in a legit fight. Whoa, okay. Cerny Bander says, I see Barrios fighting like Pedraza. Yeah, that would be bizarre, man. If he fights like that way, that's it's in his interest to maintain the fight at a distance. Unless, of course, Tank Davis makes him fight that way. One foot at the door says Pedraza was taunting him. G says Tank is just a lazy hood rat who isn't motivated enough to make 135. I don't know. He seemed pretty motivated when he fought Santa Cruz, to make weight. And that was a perfect fight for him not to take seriously. Fighting a smaller guy, a guy who wasn't really that big of a puncher either. But he showed up in shape. So I don't think lazy right now is the way to characterize him quite yet. We'll see tomorrow if he puts on a lazy performance. Let me check if the phone lines are open here. Yes, indeed, phone lines are open. Let me put up the number here so you guys can call in if you feel the need to. You can also call in about Lomachenko. I know a lot of people were miffed a little bit, or some people got their jimmies in a rustled up rather, because of the comments we were making in regards to Lomachenko. Some people feel revisionist history. All right, now I'm getting a couple of people here. Chief, are you there? Chief?
Yeah, what's up?
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Fantastic. Well, listen, thank you for joining us here. I'm going to be sharing the screen here because I'm going to be showing a couple of clips. So let me know if you're having any issues, and we'll yeah.
I'm in the car. I'll be able to tell you in about 2 minutes.
All right. Well, let me share the screen here. All right. If you do check the screen, it's supposed to say stay active right now.
Okay. I'll let you know in a minute.
All right. Well, listen, I'm going to, I might start, and when you have the chance, you can jump in. for the film analysis. But I'm going to keep reading some comments here. See if we get also some phone calls. What else was I going to do? Oh, yes, let me slide that in here. I got to tell you, the card tomorrow for the Tank Davis fight, it's not that bad, man. I mean, Erickson Lubin is really turning out to be quite a fighter at 154. It's a shame that the Charlo fight ended the way it did before he could even get started. He got clipped with that semi-right uppercut or whatever it was. He just ended up getting iced. But man, he's a quick fighter. He's been on a bit of a nice run here. He beat Nathaniel Gallimore, who's a very tough fella. He stopped Ishii Smith, which I know Ishii Smith is a bit of a spent bullet, but hey, nobody else had stopped Ishii Smith before. And now he's taking on Banana Rosario, who is a tough guy. And let me tell you, Rosario, he catches Lubin clean, which again, there's still questions out there about his chin. Could be quite interesting. And of course, Akhmedov versus Argenis Mendez. Let me say something about Akhmedov. Hey, Gonzalo, okay. Gonzalo, if you want in, let me know in the Discord, man. I don't, he's sending me, hold on a second, give me 2 seconds here. Can you link me? Oh, yes, of course. He wants in, but what I was going to say about Akhmedov is, the best thing for Tank Davis tomorrow night is for him to win in emphatic fashion and for Akhmedov to do the same. Because if he beats Barrios in impressive fashion and Akhmedov looks good too as well, then Tank Davis's profile is going to soar a little bit because people are going to say, well, wait a minute, Barrios struggled against Akhmedov. Akhmedov was a good fighter though, but then Tank Davis goes in there and blows Barrios out, and it turns out Akhmedov ain't that bad. So it put things into perspective a little bit there. So there's a couple of things to be done there.
Got the screen going. We're good on that. And on the Tank Davis, I said this not too long ago on the air. We'll see if this is where the weight he possibly should have been at for a while ago. When we first started talking about him on the air, he was only 19 years old. He's 26 now. He probably should have jumped to this weight when he couldn't make 130 anymore, much like Gotti should have when he left 130. And I think Floyd should have done the same thing instead of fighting Castillo. I think one of the reasons why he looked bad against Castillo was 140 is probably where he should have already been. They just moved up 5 pounds thinking to make it easy. So we'll see if my theory's right.
Yeah, man. I mean, what the fuck? Hold on a second. Sorry, give me 2 seconds, man. I'm trying to do a bunch of things at the same time here. Don't you think, though, that at 5'3" or whatever he is, Tank Davis, that is, don't you think he's a little bit under-equipped at 140?
That may be the downfall to this. He may be able to make the weight easy. He may be strong enough to stay there. But not everybody's as tall as Barrios. Not every 140-pound fighter out there is 5'11". So is he short for the division? The answer to that is definitely yes. But what he's about to fight is the exception in height, not the rule. Josh Taylor's not that tall.
That's a very good point. And again, tomorrow night, that's why I'm interested in this fight, because it should answer a couple of questions that we got about Tank Davis. There's people in the chat that are questioning his activity rate or his dedication to the sport, rather. That he's lazy. Tomorrow night, Chief, let me tell you, I think he's gonna have to work. He wants to stop Barrios. He's gonna have to work. I would be very surprised if he just wipes the floor with him within 5 rounds or just takes him out with 1 shot. Because Barrios, again, I think it all comes down to people underestimating Akhmedov a little bit. People go, oh, well, Barrios struggled against Akhmedov. But like I said, if Akhmedov turns out to be a very good fighter, I think that recalibrates people's expectations a little bit. We were talking about Tank Davis, about what he can do at 140. You might be right that he could actually end up being more comfortable at 140 because what he does have is hand speed and power. Hatton is an example of a guy who was stuck between a rock and a hard place. He was having a hard time making 140, and at 140 pounds, he wasn't strong enough. His style was a guy that was going to maul you, brawl with you, and at 147, that style just wasn't going to work because there were guys that were better than him and tougher than him up there. But Tank Davis...
And which fight exposed him at that weight?
Well, the Mayweather fight, right, too?
Well, which one was before that? You said it on the air before.
Colasso.
Thank you. All those Mayweather fans out there forget that fight took place.
Yeah, Colasso almost, if it wasn't for that knockdown in the first round, it could have been a different story there. All right, so listen, let's get down to it, man. Let's take a look at this Tank Davis fight here. Or clips. Oh, we got Gonzalo on the air. Gonzalo, you there? All right, Gonzalo, let me know if you can watch the screen because we're going to be watching clips. And as we go along, you let me know what's up. So, the first key for Tank Davis, and I cannot reiterate this enough, is he's going to have to be active. Because Barrios is not a slow poke in there. He's not a slow twitch guy, or muscle guy, rather. He's pretty quick. And let me just show you a couple of things here about how Barrios fights. The type of style he likes, this is his last fight against Ryan Carl. Nobody's idea of a pound for pounder, but a tough guy. And, Barrios was doing this. Keeping him on the outside, trying to catch him in with counter left hooks. You saw an uppercut. Get into exchanges. He can go with the 1-2. And one thing I did not like, again, when I mentioned earlier, Tank Davis's lack of work rate. This is against Santa Cruz. In certain spots, just playing into Santa Cruz's game, staying at a long distance, trying to catch him with one shot. And I'm thinking, Tank Davis is a much better fighter than this. When he gets on the inside with those little short arms of his and that power, he can do some real damage.
Yeah, he can. But this is a classic example of something that comes up a lot when we do film analysis. What do we have in common here about this film analysis? A lefty and a righty. So that goes back to the foot battles that I constantly talk about. Mm-hmm. Is Barrios, how proficient is he with having to deal with that and adapt to that and instill his will on making sure he wins that?
Well, we're gonna take a look at that, but let me just tell you that as a little preview to answer that question, he's decent. Let's put it that way. Now, that's gonna be the question: is decent enough to stop a guy or keep a guy like Tank Davis away? Well, then that brings up another question: is Tank Davis strong and fast enough at 140 and skilled enough to impose his will on Barrios? We were going to see. Fair question. We're going to see.
Fair question.
Gonzalo's trying to speak. Gonzalo, I can't hear you, man. Yeah, I think you're having mic issues again. Just jump in when you're ready, Gonzalo, and that way I'll be able to know if your mic is working. But yeah, Jay, Chief, this is a very interesting fight, man, because all the questions you pose are the correct questions, and the answers bring up more questions. So that's how I know this is going to be an intriguing fight.
Yeah, I mean, the sheer announcement of Tank going from 130 in his last fight, a weight that we didn't think he could make, up 10 pounds in one fight. His promotional company is doing an excellent job of making a big deal out of it because it kind of is a big deal. They're not fighting Josh Taylor or Prograis or even Ramirez. That's the guys he needed to be fighting there. But the sheer jump of 10 pounds in one fight is pretty significant. Now, I talked about Donaire not too long ago against Rigondeaux when he fought, that he had the speed, he had the footwork, he had the power, he had everything to beat Rigondeaux. What he couldn't do was put it all together at one shot. We know that Tank's got power. We know he's got speed. We know he's got reflexes. Can he put it all together 10 pounds north that quickly, that easily in just one fight? Mm-hmm. Again, you said this is all about we'll find out soon enough, and you're right, but we're not going to have a lot of film analysis to be able to see what he's going to be able to do 10 pounds heavier than he was in his last fight and 5 pounds heavier than he's ever been.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. I mean, look, I'm trying to look at all the angles here. So hopefully we can, through this forensic analysis, we can get down to the nitty-gritty and see what's what. Before we do that, however, let's go to a phone call here. Hold on a second. 917, you're on the air, 917.
What's up, BDA? Happy Friday to everybody.
Happy Friday indeed. Tomorrow night, an ample night of fights. What's on your mind, man?
What a night of fights, man. We got so many good fights this weekend on the Zone, on Showtime. But you know who I am. I'm a big Showtime guy, but I appreciate all the boxing. Now, I was watching Tank last night and his fight between Santa Cruz, and what I realized, to piggyback on what you guys said about his activity level, I think his style, he knows he has power, so he doesn't throw enough, right? But I think one of the reasons why he wasn't thrown a lot was because he was gathering information on Leo Santa Cruz the entire time. You know, like it took him many rounds to set him up for that one big shot. But that entire time, he was trying to get his timing down. That's what he was doing. He could have thrown more if he wanted to. It wasn't because he didn't have the ability to. He chose not to do it because he just wanted to time him off that one shot, you know. And you know, he is going up in weight a lot for a guy of his stature. He's short, right? He's short and stocky. But I genuinely think his power will carry over. You know, I think he was never meant to be. I think he was killing himself just to even be in the 130s anyway. So 140 will be closer to his natural weight anyway. And you know, Barrios, I don't even think Barrios is that dangerous of a guy like that. He's good. You know, he's got decent boxing skill, but I don't think he's like a killer. You know.
Yeah, that could be, man, because he's a basic fighter, and I don't say that in a derogatory fashion. I just think that, you know, he dazzles a little bit with his hand speed, but that's about it. But now the question then becomes, just a regular fighter, though. I mean, he's not a regular fighter, but you know, an above-average fighter like Barrios, it could be enough to beat Tank Davis if Tank Davis's power doesn't carry up to 140, and if he doesn't have the skills to beat a guy or outwork a guy like Barrios. That's where things are going to get interesting. So, if by the fourth,
I think he has respectable power.
Yeah,
you know,
I think so too, man.
He's not able to knock out Barrios. If you have enough power to make him respect you, to make him fear coming in, then that's good enough. You know, do I think he has a one punch knockout 140? Nah, I don't know, but I think it's just enough. You know, he's not gonna go from the most biggest puncher to being like suddenly even the biggest puncher in the previous division. When they go up one division, it'll go down a little bit, but he's not gonna become pillow fisted all of a sudden.
Listen, all I'm saying is I think people are assuming that Tank Davis is going to be at 140 is going to be the same or better than he was at 130, 135, and I'm not quite sure about that against a guy like
Depends
Barrios.
who he's fighting. You put him in with Josh Taylor, obviously. You know, it depends who he's fighting.
So, something you said earlier about how he was choosing to take his time in his last fight. I kind of disagree with that, and I'll tell you why. It's because he missed weight against Gamboa at 135, and he was going back down to 130. He was pacing himself. He may have been gathering information. You have a very good point there. But why he wasn't letting his hands go more was definitely conserving energy for a long fight against a guy who has been proven to have a good chin and was a proven warhorse. If he blew his load early, he would have had a very tough time if it went into the late rounds. So I think he was pacing himself. He may have been, he was gathering information, yes, but he probably had that information probably after the second, third round. As far as what's going to happen coming up, will his power go down? Maybe, maybe not. It won't get better, but it may be the same level of one-punch power if he's not hurting himself to make weight anymore, and it might not because these guys are going to be bigger and able to take his punches better, theoretically speaking. But it's Barrios. Like you said, it's not Josh Taylor, so we don't know yet. And that's the big question of why this fight is so intriguing.
If I was Tank's manager, I think it's, if you want to advance his career, you match him up with the right guy. You know, he's the perfect guy to measure your skills against. So I don't want to hear people go like, "Oh, why is he not fighting Josh Taylor?" It's his first fight. He just moved up there. You expect him to go in with a top dog? You just want to see him get his ass kicked. You know?
Yeah, he's a midget.
It's your first fight at 140.
And
take
he's a
on
midget.
Someone respectable. I'm not saying take on the cab driver. You know, fight someone respectable, which I think he is. And and that's that.
Yeah, he's a couple of inches away from being a midget. So let's give Tank Davis a little bit of a slack here. Barrios is not.
That's what I mean, bro. He's a little guy. That's what I mean.
Exactly. So let's not. He's not fighting a bum. Let's put it that way. He's fighting a guy that's got very good hand speed. He can crack, and he's undefeated. Is it the best fight in the world? Of course not. But considering the fact that he's jumping across one weight division, I think it's a pretty interesting fight. Anyway, listen, David, we got to move on. Thank you for your call. Call back next
Yeah,
time.
man. You rock, BDA. You rock, man. Thanks for being, thanks for, hosting the show, man.
No problem, man. That's what I'm here for. Take it easy, man. Enjoy the fights tomorrow.
All right, take care, man. Good weekend.
Absolutely. Let's go to another phone call real quick here. Let's go.
One of our nicer callers.
Yeah. 628. You're on the air. 628. What's on your mind?
What's going on?
How you doing? 628. What's on your mind? You tell us.
Oh, I'm doing good, man. I think Tank wins this fight.
Mm-hmm. And how do you see him doing that? Do you think it's going to be entertaining?
He wins this fight. I think. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think it's going to be entertaining, first and foremost?
Oh yeah, I think all Tank's fights are entertaining. That's what he is. He's an entertaining fighter. He's got one of the highest knockout rates. Just like Deontay Wilder. They're very high knockout guys. So somewhere he looks for the knockout too much. But I think this training camp, they kind of fixed that a little bit, and he's a little bit getting back to a better boxer because I know he's a better boxer than he's been showing. So and him having a shorter center of gravity, I think is going to play to his advantage, and you see him going to probably go to the body a whole lot more than he has been in the past. So I see Tank going to the body early, maybe expending a little bit more energy than he's used to, but I think he gets the knockout. I think he gets the knockout pretty early. Yeah, I don't think it goes into the later rounds at all.
All right, well, there you have it, man.
Say, huh? You said pretty early. Like what time frame?
Yeah, because he's. I say 5. That's pretty early. I say 5. I say round 5. He's out of there.
Oh, well, that is indeed pretty early.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't think because if you look at the fight if you look at the fight that Tank Davis had with Leo Santa Cruz, Leo Santa Cruz took some shots early. Now, he took a few uppercuts early in that fight. If you remember, he took some uppercuts early. He just didn't go down. And I think Tank, he realized, okay, I'm catching him with this uppercut. I got more on it. And that's kind of what happened. He hit him with the same shot he had been hitting him with early in the fight. He just made sure he put a little bit more on that one. Does that make sense?
In fairness, it took him that many rounds to take out a bantamweight, and now he's going up against a guy that could possibly weigh in a welterweight. So there's the question. When you move up like that, I mean, let's remember Alexis Arguello. That's
because
Alexis Arguello is
that's because he's been struggling to make that weight. Tank's supposed to be at 140 already. We all know Tank's supposed to be at 140. Come on now, Tank's supposed to be at 140. He's a short guy who makes weight, who make this 140 pretty easily.
We're on the same page on that because he's 26
years old. You don't think
Tank's
supposed to be at 140?
I've been saying for like 10 seconds now that I agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, first of all, there's a bit of a delay between us and the caller. So caller, before we move on, you're predicting Tank Davis within 5 rounds. I'm curious, if he beats Barrios, what should he do after this fight? What do you think the best move for him is in a perfect world?
Stay at 140 and keep getting the max out of his workouts. Because he knows his body better than anybody. Mm-hmm. And he's the one who said he wanted to take this Barrios fight. So I think he didn't see in his body that he was struggling too much to make the weight at 130 or 135. He was fluctuating between the two, and I think the medium is probably 140. With 135 being on the low side.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, that's interesting right there. Hopefully Tank Davis continues to taking on or having an energy level where he says, you know what, give me the best. No more playing around, no more fooling around. Bring the best. So let's see if it happens. Hopefully it's an interesting fight. Thank you for calling in, 628, and we'll catch you in the next one. All right? Call back the next time.
PDA, can you hear me?
Hey, and one more thing. I think Devin Haney moves up to 140. I think Devin Haney moves up to 140. And then he fights Tank at 140.
Oh, all right. Well, there you have it. An interesting prediction right there. Thank you, 628, for your call. We'll catch you in the next one, all right? Take it easy. Enjoy the fights tomorrow.
We all know that part comes on to politics.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't know he wasn't gone. 628, thanks for calling. We all know that goes to the politics, and with Haney's contract coming up with Eddie Hearn pretty soon, not knowing if he's going to re-sign with him or not. With PBC/Mayweather Promotions being with Tank Davis, with Bob Arum pretty much controlling 140 pounds. there's a lot of questions on what could he do, because everyone's got to play ball, and in between 130 to 135 to 147, each promotional company's the only one's proven to really want to play ball with everybody is Eddie Hearn.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. So, and by the way, yeah, like you said,
Can you hear me, BDA?
Yes, Gonzalo, I can hear you. What's up, man?
Okay, what's up? How's
Can
it
you
going,
see
everybody?
Can you see the screen, by the way?
I probably could, but I have to switch. I have to log on with two different devices. I can try logging on with the other one and speak without a headphone.
All right, we'll see if you can work something out there, Gonzalo. Meanwhile, we got Recognize on the line as well. Recognize, you there?
I'll be back. All right.
Cool. All right, Gonzalo. Oh, shit, he left. What the fuck? All right, meanwhile, we got Recognize too. Recognize, you there? All right, Recognize is probably eating pancakes with ice cream and syrup on top, so we'll get to him when he has a chance. Meanwhile, let's get to a phone call here. A lot of people calling in for this one. Didn't expect it. 956, you're on the air. 956, what's on your mind?
Hey, man, I called last time. I want to say I'm sorry for what I said, man. I'll be respectful this time. You know what? It's my fault for being disrespectful. But I want to say...
I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are, so I don't know what you're talking about. But
okay.
Whatever happened, I mean, I guess...
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, that's cool, bro. That's cool. All right, but I was going to say, man, about 2 callers ago, a guy was saying, he was trying to hype up Barrios. He was saying, people should give Tank credit because, he's a lengthy fighter. And he said, Tank shouldn't be fighting people like Taylor. But my point is, first of all, Tank shouldn't be going up to 140 and fighting seed-level prospects. What he should be doing is being at 135 or at least 130 and trying to unify the title he won at 130, or at least try to fight top 6, top 5 guys at 135. Tank's supposed to be fighting Lomachenko right now, or someone of that caliber. Maybe even Devin Haney. What is he doing fighting seed-level prospects at 140? The people are trying to hype up Barrios, saying, he's long, saying that, he has respectable skill. But at the end of the day, Tank's in a washer, man. He's in a washer, and there's levels to this, all right? And they're going to hype up Tank like always. My thing is, Tank has been at this level for about 4 years now, man. He's 26 years old right now. Everybody else that was a prospect during his time, around that 2016, 2017, era, they all stepped up, and they're all either world champions now, or they at least fought world champions, or were at least in 50-50 fights. We haven't seen Tank in a 50-50 fight yet. He's in a wash, Barrios, but I don't want people to act all surprised if he knocks out Barrios and hype him up. Barrios is a prospect, man. He hasn't shown in anything. He's a prospect, a C-level prospect.
That's a good point. That's an interesting point. At the same time, though, if Tank Davis washes him or mops up the floor with him, like some of the callers were saying, you got to give him a modicum of credit, because that would mean that he is above a guys like Barrios, who ain't that bad. But that being said, I do agree with you that Tank Davis's career has stalled. I mean, if you think about it, his last solid win was against Pedraza, and that was in 2016. I mean, since then, the best opponent on his record was Santa Cruz, was essentially a super bantamweight. I mean, that is not a pound for pound guy. I don't understand why there's people out there who have
full bantamweight, 118. He won titles at 118 all the way up to 130.
Well, my apologies. You're right, but I mean, And by the way, to Tank Davis's credit, though, he did say that this fight at 140 is a one-off. He will be returning to 130 or 135, depending on how he feels. But let me ask you, caller, who do you want to see him fight next? If you could make one fight out there for Tank Davis in a perfect world, who would be the best opponent for him?
Well, the perfect fight for me would be Lomachenko and Tank, but that seems kind of unrealistic because Tank has no reason to fight Loma because Loma has no belts currently. So I think the fight that's the most realistic and I want to happen is Devin Haney and Tank. I hope that does happen next, but I doubt it. Depending how Tank looks at tomorrow night, if he looks great, I'm pretty sure PBC will gain confidence and put Tank in a 50-50 fight next. But if Tank looks like shit, they're probably going to put him against another prospect or another underweight guy, I think, man, because the way PBC moves Tank is laughable. I've never seen a fighter built up like this. Oh my dude, it's been 5 years and he's never been in a 50-50 fight yet, man. You don't think that's weird? I mean, Seal, we heard about Seal for 3 years, and then he was put in two 50-50 fights versus Cormier and versus Loma. You know, like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's the difference between top rank. That's the difference between top rank and the PBC, man. One side has a lot of experience in building up fighters, and the other one has experience in just letting fight careers lag. That's what the PBC seems to be in the business of. Well, listen, Cole.
Wilder and Tank, man. Wilder and Tank, both of them are Tank. And plus, want to say, man, shout out to Lomachenko and Nakatani. Great fight. I think Nakatani is a bit overrated, man. You know, he was getting caught a lot versus Fortejo, and I got Loma by stoppage. She'll look great. Maybe, you know, Loma stopping Nakatani around the 8th, 7th round will kind of build up a potential rematch with Teofimo Lopez, I think, like. But yeah, that's all I have to say, man. Peace out, bro.
All right, take it easy, man. All right, take it easy. Thank you for your call. All right, so there you have different types of points of view. Some people want to give Tank Davis a lot of credit for this fight. Other people feel that Barrios is just not that great. So, fellas, I suggest we continue on with the film analysis and see what's what. Again,
this is definitely a double-edged sword, so we can go all night with that. But like you said, onto the film study.
All right, feel free to jump in whenever you want, fellas, because again, I didn't have time to share these clips with you beforehand, so don't feel free to ask me to rewind, stop, pause, whatever. This is what these clips are here for. So again, I didn't really like the fact that Tank Davis was taking a little bit of his time here again. Testing 1, 2. All right, sorry about that. My audio is going in and out right now because I'm playing a lot of things at the same time here. So bear with us. Yeah, sorry about that, fellas. Yeah. Sorry about that. It's just it's gonna happen here. I don't know what. You know what? I'm gonna decrease the resolution in these clips. Maybe that's what it is. All right. So I don't think people care how good the footage looks. Yeah. So I didn't like how Tank Davis was looking in some of these fights. He did this against Gamboa. Again, he only threw 400 shots in 11 and a half rounds. A lot of watching. I mean, he's a conservative fella in there with his output because he's such a big puncher. But if he's getting lit up a little bit like Santa Cruz was doing to him, he's gonna have to let his hands go more. And this is what Akhmedov was able to do against Barrios, which was he went for it. Now again, you see the difference here. Akhmedov, he's a bit of what is it that Recognize always says, Gonzalo, about the Lomachenko type punches? That they're almost like just rocking the shoulder. I forget how he calls them. I think he calls them forearm punches or something. And Akhmedov, who fights a lot like Lomachenko a little bit, that's what he was doing a lot of in that fight. And it was activity. Hold on a second. For some reason, this shit ain't... All right. Now I'm being frozen. Can you guys hear me, by the way?
I can.
Okay, yes. Fantastic. Yeah, now I'm experiencing some issues here with the with the video. But yeah, like I was saying, so Akhmedov, one of the things he was able to do in there was he put on a lot of pressure on Barrios. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. I'm just having to reset things here. There we go. All right, so again, a lot of activity there from Akhmedov, and he went for it, man. See that inside southpaw? See there, trying to turn Barrios angles. Barrios is very good on the outside, but on the inside, he tends to drop his hands, tries to get away, and when he backs off with his hands down, And you can see there, Akhmedov. Oof, see that? If he, I don't know, Barrios, we're going to take a look at this later on. He has a bad tendency. See how they're in the clinch here or chest to chest? He tends to be backing up with his hands down. Boom, catches a flush left hand. I'm telling you, he cannot eat too many of those from Tank Davis. Even if Tank Davis's power might not be what it was at 130, 135, he still cannot eat these type of shots.
Yeah, that's for sure. And the whole power thing, BDA, you know, honestly, he's an explosive fighter. You don't have too many explosive fighters in boxing. So his power is gonna carry because he's short and stout and he's got speed behind his shots. And if he don't throw that many punches, the punches that he does throw, he's gonna throw them with a lot of speed. So he's gonna conserve his energy, and if when those shots land, man, he's gonna still hit hard. Will it be enough to knock out Barrios? It remains to be seen.
Yeah, but that's the question, right? Like, are those shots gonna be enough to take a toll on Barrios? Because, you know, they're both the same age, by the way. This ain't an old Gamboa. This is not an undersized, Santa Cruz. This is a guy who's about as close to his prime as he's gonna get, just like Tank Davis. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens there. I see we got recognized too. I don't know if recognized you. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. What's up?
Fantastic. Good to have you on board, man. Can you see the clips that we got here?
Yep. I'm
Fantastic.
on.
Fantastic. All right, so let's keep on trucking with this. This is Tank Davis. This is what Tank Davis is going to have to do. Once he turned it up against Santa Cruz, he really went for it. This is what you cannot do in front of Tank Davis. Stand there in front of him with your guard up, because he will get his punches. He's got what I call blunt punches. It's just blunt force. Look at that. See how he gets it right behind the guard, and he just tosses Santa Cruz's head side to side. See that there? Boom. Those are the type of shots that when they move the head like that, you take 17, 16 of those, they're going to wear you down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially a guy like Barrios. Yeah.
See here with Pedraza. Pedraza's playing a dangerous game. Stays right in front of him, has success catching Tank, but Tank's going to win that battle because he's, like Gonzalo was saying, short and explosive. You know, so he can come on. He knows how he could get a lot of leverage with those punches because of his size and the way he throws his punches.
Absolutely.
He's going to win that battle.
Yeah, this is
you
against...
got to fight him. You got to keep him on the outside.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. See, this is against Fonseca. He didn't look all that hot in this fight, but this is an example. When he opens up, he mixes up those shots very well. First of all, good control here. See how he just mixes him up with that lead hand, controlling him there, just slapping him to set up that uppercut. Boom. Snaps his head back, keeps him in place with that right. Actually opens up his guard a little bit there, even though he's coming out from the other side with hand. Left hand, uppercut again with the right. You know, a straight left there to open up the guard again. Another uppercut. And some people could say, this is what I wanted to ask you, fellas, because the way some people quantify power, and by the way, no, Chief, I can't hear you. But you're muted right now, so maybe that's the problem. The way people qualify Davis's power, some people say, well, you know, look at him, he's hitting him flush and he's not dropping him. Yeah, but who drops one guy with just like, boom, here, one shot and they drop him? I mean, it's...
Yeah, it's like a few dudes in the history that maybe have done that. You know, one punch. I mean, including Davis, he hit Leo Santa Cruz. I mean, he hit him many times, but the one that finished him was a one-shot uppercut. You know, well, not many guys can do that. They're not going to hit you. Not every time they punch you, you're going to drop. These are
in the real world, in the street fight, if you had a heavyweight punching a featherweight, yeah, the heavyweight will knock out the other guy with one shot. But when you're roughly around the same weight, no, it's not going to happen all the time.
Exactly.
But that's what we had in this last fight. Was we had a bantamweight versus basically what should have been a junior welterweight, and he did have that one punch power against a guy.
Right. He ended up finishing him with one punch, but he hit him many times, and he didn't go down. No guy's going to hit you. So when people say, well, he's hitting these guys with flush shots, I'm like, yeah, he's breaking them down. the other guy's strong too.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what I'm. Yeah, that's the perfect way of putting it. He's catching him with his blunt shots that are shaking him around.
I mean, it should be obvious, right? Other professional fighters are strong as well.
Exactly. Yeah, we gotta remember too. These guys are conditioned to be able to take shots, but there comes a time where you can only eat so many of these before they wear you down. Real quick, we got a phone call here. 347. You're on the air. 347. What's on your mind? Oh, he hung up, or he or she. I shouldn't assume it's a he. It could be a she, could be an X.
Them, a
could
Z,
be a Z.
an
Yeah,
X.
You gotta be very careful about how it
As a
works.
professional fighter, you're conditioned mentally to assimilate shots. You know, that doesn't always happen, but that's your job.
Exactly, mentally too. The conditioning plays into the mental aspect, and the mental aspect plays into the physical aspect of being able to take a shot. And absolutely, that's another good point there, Gonzalo. I wanted to ask you fellas about Tank's power, because see here, when he throws that right, see that? I don't know if you can see his left foot, he's on his heel a little bit, so that means his weight is backwards, going backwards, so he might not be as strong as he could be, but yet he's still breaking through Fonseca's guard. Is it safe to say that Tank Davis is just naturally heavy-handed?
Yes, because his form is terrible. He does. Well, remember when I was just first a caller and I started calling on board here and talking about Tank Davis? I said he keeps his hands in his chest, he throws from his shoulders, he squares up, and he doesn't put all his weight behind his shots, and he doesn't pivot. None of that's changed. He's had these flaws the whole time. It's not because I don't like him. This is just who he is. He's a hell of a puncher. He's got very fast hands. He's got good reflexes to dodge one punch at a time. Maybe not combinations, because he hasn't really faced a combination puncher yet. But one punch at a time, he can slip and counter. But all these weaknesses I've said have always been there. They were there his amateur days. They were there all through his pro days. He's 26 years old. They're still there. No one's fixed him. So is he there? That's why I think they don't face Haney or Lomachenko, because they can capitalize on this. So is he going to step up after this? Is this the kind of guy at this weight class that's going to be able to capitalize on this?
That's a thing. Is this weight division, weight disparity, and height and reach disparity as well? Is it going to be enough to beat and sidetrack Tank Davis? Or like I said like I asked in the comment or the description of this video, is the Tank gonna get derailed? Is the Tank gonna run into some mines that is gonna just fuck it all up? We'll see. Let's continue with this. Okay, so okay, he has to be active, right? The 400 shots within 8, 9, 12 rounds, it's not going to cut it if the power's not there. The other thing, which is the obvious one, work the body. He's got Barrios in front of him, very tall guy. The body is there to be worked. And Tank Davis, when he decides to go to work to the body, he's about as good a body puncher as he gets. But here's, you see Akhmedov against Barrios. One of the things he was doing is, he was doing this, a lot of this, stabbing him with left right on trying to get to the plexus there. And you can see he's doing a good job of driving that left hand through the target. And you see their Barrios getting bent over a little bit, feeling those shots. And it also sets up shots upstairs for Akhmedov, because those stabs made Barrios lower his hands, which is another problem that we're going to take a look at.
Stab into the body, I really don't see Tank doing that. Tank kind of hook to the body. And if you really look at Barrios, he does a good job of getting away from that, keeping you on the outside. So he'll be able to block those or get away from them. He has to stab at the body. I think if he starts hooking to the body, he might be unsuccessful, like especially early in the fight.
Really? So you think Tank Davis early on, the body work is just not going to be as effective?
I don't. The way he shoots, he to the body hooking style. I've seen Barrios. I've seen enough highlights of Barrios that he kind of makes, those shots he sees coming, he blocks them or he gets away from them. Even when he's getting caught here, you can see that he's trying to move on time, but he's not fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
He does a good job of getting out on the outside when you try to go to his body, especially if you're trying to hook against his body.
All right. Well, now, okay, let's get to that then, because here are some highlights of Tank Davis working the body. This is against Santa Cruz, who, again, he likes to keep that high guard there, nothing too fancy. The target is there to be taken, and of course, Now, was a good move from Tank Davis. I think this is what he's going to have to do in the Barrios fight. He can't just come straight forward. He has to work his way inside. So here you see him flicking that jab, works his way inside, just throwaway shots, and then he sets Santa Cruz up for that left right on the belt line. Boom. That's what he's going to have to do. Work this body shot. See that right hook to the body there. Let me just rewind that. He gets a lot of... Look at that. Look how he turns that body, sits down on the shot. He's wincing as he's throwing.
Hook. He believes in that right hook. He believes in his right a lot. He puts a good last in for his jab. He believes in a straight left, and for Santa Cruz, he believes in his uppercut. I've seen him counter that uppercut. It looks like a Mayweather move that Mayweather may have taught him in the gym, where he tries to do. The Mayweather roll doesn't work from a lefty to a righty very well, so he sits back and he kind of blocks his shoulder, and then he'll roll with it and bring it up. That's not what we're looking at right now. We're looking at body shots. He does believe in that right hook big time, and he puts a lot, and he spins into it well, turns his hips. He really digs it. Much more than he does his straight left to the body.
Yeah, and you know what, man? If he's putting a lot on those shots, it's going to be interesting to see if he misses with those shots, how much energy is going to be taken away from him. Because again, he's putting mustard on. You can tell like he's grunting when he's throwing those shots. So if he misses those shots, yeah.
Or if they're blocked. If Barrios can cover up well and block those shots, you have a very good point. What's going to happen?
Well, that right hook to the body, it's an excellent shot the way he delivers it. But really, his money punch is going to be that left hook to the liver. And that's his
Which
power hand. But it's also his... Say again?
Which he doesn't throw. He's a southpaw. He doesn't go on the outside very often in the body.
It's his trail hand, so it's going to be harder to get to the target without him showing it, so because it's coming from behind. It doesn't surprise you as easily as the right hook that he throws with conviction, because that's the lead hand, but he's also hitting the kidney, so it's not really going to knock you out all the time where it's going to make you take a knee, and take the life out of you like a left hook would.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. That trail hand. I mean, it's very. You know how he's going to be able to get it inside, Gonzalo, if he works his way inside. If he's already there in the pocket, then he's going to be able to land that. But from the outside, yeah, it's going to be very hard to go one and then try to dig that left to the body. Don't forget to hit the like button, fellas. Hit the like button. It really helps us out. Let me check the phone lines.
Yeah,
okay.
Especially considering he's a shorter man, right? And he's facing the taller man. Right.
Exactly. Yeah, inside is where he's going to want to be, like in the Pedraza fight. But if Barrios doesn't cooperate the way Pedraza did, then he's going to have a problem. Now,
but you mentioned will he run out of gas this time if he misses too many shots? That's the key that his camp's trying to say at 140. He shouldn't gas out because he should have the reserve. He should be at the weight he naturally deserves to be at. He shouldn't have had to cut muscle. He shouldn't have had to not carb himself up enough to have the energy, the carbs in his veins to be able to have the energy that he needs. It shouldn't have happened for this weight. So he shouldn't gas. If he does, then we have a lot more questions.
Absolutely. Yeah, if he gasses in this fight, like you see a lot of people saying, Barrios saying all that right now. That's what they're saying. So what's it going to be? Is he going to gas out against a bum? I'm not saying Barrios is a bum. But I've been hearing people saying that, some people saying that in the chat know that. So it's going to be interesting to see what people say after the fight. Now, for Tank Davis, this type of stabbing shots here, these lefts to the bodies, this is what he's going to have to work on against the taller Barrios. Work that body over. Bust it up, man. Bust it up like you're in a porn movie. Now, you see that he keeps throwing that left hand, and he's going to have to stay out of the way because Barrios is going to counter with that right hand right away. So he cannot just stand there. Now, this is another move that he can do here. He can counter with the left when the other guy's coming forward. And of course, he can lean back afterwards. But against the taller Barrios, who's about... Listen, that's the other thing. Speed for speed. I think Barrios is about as quick as Tank Davis. I don't think Tank Davis is enjoying the speed factor all that much in this fight. What say ye?
We have to see. We don't know what speed he has at 140. What he had at 130 and 135. If he maintains that, because this is 10 pounds heavier than he fought in his last fight.
He looked the best shape of his career in that fucking weigh-in.
Yeah,
Right.
Fine, looked like
I'm not arguing that at all.
boxer.
But we still haven't been able to see what he can do with that shape.
Right. No, I agree.
Mike Tyson always looked like he was in shape when he was getting ready for a fight, but sometimes when he got in that ring as he got older, given Tank's nowhere near that level of the shot Mike Tyson. He's only 26, but we don't know what's going to happen there. We're doing film analysis on a huge question mark that we have no evidence on yet.
He looked more comfortable in that weigh-in. He looked like there was no struggle. He looks really comfortable at that weight. So that tells me that I guess even though he's what 5'5" or some shit like that, right?
5'5", yeah. I'm looking at it right now, 5'5".
He's about he's 140 is his right weight class, which is crazy. He should be a lightweight at best, but I think this might be the best weight class for him. Now let's see if that turns out, in the ring.
It benefits Barrios in the sense that Gervonta Davis is a hooker, and if Barrios throws straight punches, like I think he does, similar to Leo Santa Cruz. We saw that Leo was befuddling Gervonta Davis with the straight shots because geometrically speaking, I mean, if he doesn't get on the inside necessarily, but if he's throwing them hooks from the outside, if he throws hook per straight punch that Barrios straight punch will probably get there quicker. Because as I like to say, if you draw a line to me and I draw a line to you, but you're hooking and I'm throwing a straight shot, and you know where I got this from? I read it in the Ring magazine many years ago, and it stuck to me. Yeah, a straight shot would always get there quicker than a hook.
Yeah. Yep, it does.
Do you guys believe in whoever turned pro at the heavier weight is the naturally bigger man?
Not necessarily, not all the time.
But so in this case, though, just for the record, Barrios turned pro at 122 pounds. He's 140 now. He's been 140 for about looks like about 8 fights now.
And how old is Barrios?
They're both 26.
Right, so he probably started young when he was 20. When he was fighting at 122.
Yeah, it was 2013. So,
I thought they both looked excellent on the weigh-in. You know what? Barrios looked chiseled and he looked strong. But the other guy, Tank, man, he looked like a fucking tank. He was filled out. Also, they both look good. And that there's the same age, wow, that's a good thing.
Well, let me say this, man, because people always, when people talk about weight jumps across boxing history, they'll bring up, Sugar Robinson versus Joey Maxim, Roy Jones versus John Ruiz, Dick Tiger over at light heavyweight when he beat Torres. But let's talk about some of those too, like with Robinson Maxim, things that went awry, because one of the ones we had about 14 years ago, when Diego Chico Corrales, who was a big puncher at 130, 135, I mean, he did stop the titanium-chinned Jose Luis Castillo. He moved up to 147, took on the very strong Joshua Clottey, and what happened? He got beat up in that fight. He couldn't bust through Clottey's defense. And so it's almost a little bit of the same thing here that I'm wondering. Maybe, look, Tank Davis is no one's idea of a great fighter. He's a good fighter, one of the top fighters, but is his skill set going to be enough to beat a taller guy? The guy we saw him fight, Pedraza, fought a very stupid fight against Tank Davis. Did Tank Davis make him fight that way? I didn't see it, really. I saw Pedraza.
No, I didn't think so. Because I went back and watched those 2 fights between him and Loma and him and Tank for the fight triangle that we on here don't like to do very much. Pedraza went after Tank. He didn't go after Loma. He boxed and moved and used his height and everything against Loma and tried to keep away from Loma. He went after Tank. So he gave Tank every opening that Tank needed to have the perfect night against him. I don't think Barrios is going to do the same thing because he knows this is his biggest shot he may ever have.
Right.
So if he has any kind of real promotion, real management, and real training behind him, they've taken this fight like this is the Super Bowl. Because if they win this, they know they're going big places. If they lose, you might see him as Josh Taylor's in between fight between that and big fights. They might drop him down to 135 or move him up to 147, and he may become cannon fodder. So this is it.
Yeah, listen.
So,
If Tank Davis is not pressuring that much and Barrios starts finding him on the inside from the get-go, there's going to be something bizarre going on. That's the way I see it. Go ahead, Gonzalo. What were you going to say?
It's hard for me to really say right now because I could see it like two ways. Like not necessarily speaking about the power, but the height discrepancy for the division. Now, will that translate to where he can apply his boxing skills at 140 against taller, also stronger men? Well, we saw, Pacquiao, he changes angles. He moves a lot. Mike Tyson, for a heavyweight, small guy, he used to move his waist a lot from side to side, and that would work for him. Now, we see Canelo behind that high guard, barge forward, and it works for him. So, Gervonta Davis fights a little bit similar in the sense with that high guard, that if he polishes his skills, I think, against higher men where he also doesn't throw a lot of punches like Canelo, but he can pick his shots and break a fighter down, it might work for him. We know he's a big fan of Canelo Alvarez. He's even rocking them no boxing, no life gloves now. But he said it before. He admires Canelo. Will he adopt a little bit of the Canelo style, and will that style really do something? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the big question. It's going to be dependent on the power, right? Because say what you want about Canelo, but the motherfucker's strong, and you can tell guys feel he's. I mean, just look at Billy Joe Saunders. You'd never seen Billy Joe Saunders react the way to feints the way he'd ever done before. Why? Because he was feeling those shots to the elbows, to the body. Power helps, man, when you're setting up feints. Real quick, shout out to Julio Ochoa for his contribution with the Super Chat. Says Floyd paid Barrios $5 million to dive plus his purse. Okay. Julio, I don't. You can't just cast those type of aspersions and accusations like that, man. We need some proof. And by the way, Precise in the chat room too he was saying something along the same lines that I was saying, which is that Pedraza just showed up there for a very stupid fight, and that hopefully Barrios doesn't do it, because then if it does happen, and that's two people fighting stupidly against against Davis, and that is very weird indeed. Let's go to the phone lines real quick. Let's go to we got the wild card line. 111. 11111. You're on the air. 111. What's on your mind?
Yo, what's going on, BD? What's going on, bro?
Doing good, man.
Lomachenko, Lomachenko, I think he's going to be able to, school Nakatani. That's if his shoulders right, because we know, Nakatani, he's a good fighter. He always gives tough fights. He has a good jab. He is taller than Lomachenko, and he has a good chin. But I think, if Lomachenko is healthy, I think he will be able to beat Nakatani with a little bit ease and take Barrios, man, 50-50 fight.
No, wait a minute. I'm confused, man. Sorry to interrupt, but didn't you call up yesterday or the day before and you said Nakatani was going to knock him out?
Up in the Porsche.
I am a little bit bipolar, but but anyway, let me say this.
I know you're bipolar.
I reckon this. Let me finish. Can you hear what he's saying?
Barrios versus Tank, bro. It's going to be a good fight, and I'm going to stick with this. I got Barrios KO, man. I think Barrios, he's taller than Tank. He does have pop. He is a little slow. His footwork might not be there, but, Tank is really smaller than him, and Barrios does have a lot of pop, and looks like he's coming to win. I never saw Tank opponents like Barrios come to actually win, come to play all on the line.
Well, listen, that's an interesting point, man, and we'll see if Barrios knocks out Tank Davis. I mean, look, you never know, man. Things can happen in boxing, surprises. Can I ask you to stop impersonating me over at Johnny Boy's channel? Because the guy keeps thinking that it's really me going over there, and I told him all I needed to tell him. I'm not going over there again, so could you please stop impersonating Recognize and myself and Butch over there? We'd really appreciate it, man.
No, you can keep doing it. It's fine with me.
Like I said before, I am bipolar.
That's the whiteout. Hey, I'm bipolar. He's like, what's his name? Mauro Ranallo. He says he's bipolar too. By the way, I'd be afraid of commentating next to that guy. Imagine he just gets angry and bites your nose off like the penguin in that Batman movie. I'd be very afraid of that. But anyway, listen. Let's continue on with the film analysis here. Oh, by the way, we got Jimmy. Jimmy.
Yo, what up, brother?
How you doing, man? We're doing good. Hope you're doing well as well. Hey, by the way, did you see the hockey last night?
Yes, I did. Canadians, I cannot believe it. They shouldn't even been in the playoffs. But hey, before you go to, can I just say real quick about no, I appreciate the kid saying he believes that Barrios is coming to bring it. I don't know how he's judging that. Probably just by maybe what the kid's saying. But can I just say, all right, you guys have some of you guys aren't even Canelo fans. Some of you guys are, but I don't think anybody can say there hasn't been like if you look at his career, right, trajectory right from the beginning, right up from his first televised fight that I could find, it was a steadily, right up until his 50th fight against Triple G, it was a steady increase in, or just skills, right? It just steadily grew. Since he fought Triple G, hasn't his skills seemed to be so much better? He's so much hitting harder. Like everything seems to be a little better as movement. And that, listen, that's just it didn't even dawn on me before. Like it's steel sharpens steel. Fighters become better when they are pushed, when you're in the ring against good competition. And I think Charlo's past fight just showed us that. Remember, he was better 4 years ago. I think everybody can say, I mean, he looked like he was a killer back then. What happens when you beat up on hand-picked opponent after hand-picked opponent? There's nothing to get work on. You just ended working on the things that you like to do in camp. You don't learn to do anything better. And you can see the difference from like where Canelo has gotten better, Charlo's stepped back. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to change my thing. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I think fucking Barrios is there to be put out. I don't think he gets out halfway through the fight. I don't think this fight goes halfway. I think he puts him out before the 6th round. I don't think he does anything that hurts or bothers Tank. I think Tank's going to be too quick. And if, put it this way, unless he worked on his defense, if anything like that, if he tries to fight him the way he fought that, kid with the 7 pro fights who comes forward, but he's just relentless. He didn't do anything overly spectacular. And Barrios was very, very receptive to getting caught with looping shots. And that's some of fucking Davis's, his looping punches he throws are some of his best shots. So I still think he's going to put this kid out, and it's just another thing that Ellaby, and I just want to say too, I would never pay $75 for this. Every time I just watched a video by Ring, actually did a good one. Farmer, fucking Lopez, Taylor, always the same thing. The first thing he says, well, how many tickets did they sell? What do they offer? What do they bring to the table? Really? What the fuck does Barrios bring to the table? So everything he even selling this fight is, and then he just admits he's not trying to match this kid tough. He's just trying to put as much fans in the seats as possible for the bottom line. It's for money for him or for TMT. So everything about this fight disgusts me. Sorry,
LRB,
I just want to get that out.
What else disgusted me was LRB's sales pitch. It was one of the worst things I've ever heard. He goes, Tank Davis. Everyone knows something along those lines. I'm butchering it, but he said everyone knows who he is. He's everyone's favorite fighter. He's my daughter's favorite fighter. When I talk to my barber, who is 65 years old or something like that, he's been my barber for 25 years. I asked him, who's your favorite fighter? He says Tank Davis. Christina something, a school teacher that I recently met, wonderful person. Her favorite fighter is Tank Davis. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, what the fuck does that? Well, first of all, let's assume that that's true, which sounds like BS to me. I'm sorry, I don't want to.
It's embarrassing, dude. How about analytics? How about saying, well, I went by Google Analytics and the most, viewed fighter, the most looked up fighter. There's plenty of analytics out there if you want to really find that out. That's what I mean. Nebulous things like he's the 4th ticket seller in the United States. I'm like, really, dude? That's your selling point for making this fucking fight at best a good, decent co-main.
It was horrible, man.
Event
it was
on
horrible.
Showtime.
He might as well have said, "Look, that he's my daughter's favorite fighter. He's the dominatrix that ties up my boss's favorite fighter. I mean, he's a superstar. Come on, man. He should have gone all out if that was what he was gonna do. But it was a horrible sales pitch, man. Even that guy that looks like a peanut. I forget what his name is. The guy from Showtime, the black dude. Yeah, he had when Ellerby stepped off the podium. He goes, "Wow, what a sales pitch!" I'm thinking, oh, come on, man. You don't have to make fun of the guy after that type of sales pitch.
It's a perfect sign of a con man. Oh, my barber says this. Oh, my, a 3rd grade teacher I just met the other day who doesn't teach any of my kids that I don't have. I mean, How far do you have to reach to try and sell something without proof?
Yeah.
And it's
you're
always
making
something you
people
can't
up.
pick them on, right?
Right. Well, but things you could pick him on, like when they were saying, when he was doing that whole thing of, I know Mayweather's got a $32 million check in my briefcase. Okay, well, what were the pay-per-view numbers? Don't tell me how to do my job. I don't have to answer to you. Okay, well, I mean, these are simple questions. We're reporters. We're asking the basics. You're not providing answers. It's just that simple. He's a con man. And now whether he was the con man that made the Mayweathers that much smarter or whether they taught him, I couldn't tell you. I don't think Floyd Sr. was a great con man coming up. He didn't sound like one. I'm thinking Roger was the friend with Leonard, and I think that's how it came about. I think Roger knew Leonard. Leonard taught them how to con, and let's face it.
Could you imagine if
I've pointed many different things out on things that Floyd has said that have proven to not be true. That's printed out there. And
Wait a
who's
minute.
his CEO and right hand? Leonard Ellerby. There's a pattern here. And now who's Tank's promoter? Floyd. But who's the CEO of Mayweather Promotions? Leonard Ellerby. We got a pattern.
I'm not going to sit here and let you call Floyd Mayweather a liar and Ellerby by extension, right? It's just not going to happen, Chief. Sorry.
Okay,
That's where I draw the line.
No worries. You don't. Okay. I'll just go ahead and put this out there. He claimed that he called out Sugar Shane Mosley after the Carlos Rios fight in his hometown of Grand Rapids, Michigan. If you YouTube the fight and the interview afterwards, you will hear the fact that he never mentioned Shane Mosley's name. That's a lie.
I gotta tell you, I just told you I'm not gonna let you sit here and besmirch Mayweather's name, and you keep doing it. Stop it. Now listen,
I'm sorry, BD, it's your show, and I apologize.
I'm kidding, man. Listen, let's continue on here with the film analysis. Hopefully, can take away the bad taste from the horrible pitch that Ellerby threw there. So countering. Shit, hold on a second, it's lagging a little bit. Okay, so countering is Tank Davis. Good workout for him there. Here you see him continuing to work the body. Now he's getting close, digging those right hooks to the body. This against Pedraza, really going for it. Now I really like this sequence here because they're on the inside, chest to chest, left hand, right uppercut, and then right off that right uppercut, he leans to the right, boom, digs a mean right shovel hook right on the flanks there. That's what he's going to have to do, man. Work that body. Barrios is a long fella, long arms. I have not seen him handle himself well on the inside. Another beautiful move here. Jab upstairs, jab downstairs, left to the body. Pedraza just standing there thinking he's fucking Wiki right or something.
That is that left hook that Gonzalo talked about, so I stand corrected. He throws it from time to time to the body.
Well, he's also throwing it here. Look at this. Right on the plexus there, boom. And then he does this sequence here where he throws a couple of uppercuts and then, that shot right there.
Well, with him, it's easier to get to because he's also left-handed, so it's like right there, right?
Right.
No, I don't see what you mean. It's not right there from fighting a righty. He's got to reach around from the back foot, like you pointed out earlier.
He's fighting Pedraza's a left-hander. Jesus, isn't that the clip we're watching?
Yeah, Pedraza, he was fighting southpaw in this. I think he's a switch hitter. But your point is well taken.
He fought the wrong fight.
He did fight the wrong fight. He's listed as orthodox on BoxRec. He might have been in a southpaw stance in this scenario.
Hey, imagine Barrios goes southpaw in this fight. He goes southpaw. He fights on the inside as well. He just starts trading with Tank Davis. You go, all right, what's going on here? Like, who did Ellerby throw him a couple of C notes or something? I mean, that's what I'm interested in. But nevertheless, look, Gonzalo's point is well taken here because in this sequence here, Pedraza is fighting as a southpaw. He just ate that left to the body and it bent him over. And this takes us to point C for Tank Davis here in keys to victory. Get Barrios to trade, because one thing I've noticed from Barrios, especially in the Akhmedov fight, is he tends to lean over to his right to try to counter with right hands, but he's open against the southpaw. Two right hands. See that right here? Nothing happened, but those hands are very low during exchanges. Same thing here. Akhmedov coming in with the left, Barrios backing up, but you see how he gets his left hand way too low during exchanges. He's not. It's like he's visually impaired or something when a guy starts throwing combos. See again here, Akhmedov leaning in towards the right, feinting with the left, and whoop, what happens here with Barrios? Drops that left hand. And Tank Davis, as we saw earlier, has a heck of a right hook. Actually, let's just say it right off the bat. He can punch with either hand. Again,
I could see him coming with the overhand left in that situation.
Exactly, that too, yeah. Well, there you saw Akhmedov there hitting him with those shots. Again, here on the inside. There's just not much Barrios can do here. He doesn't handle himself all that well on the inside. There he gets caught with right overhand rights. Again, see that? Like, what's he doing? He's just, look at how close he gets. He lets Akhmedov get to him. And then he drops the left hand, trying to parry it, I suppose. I don't know what he's doing here. And boom, just gets caught. I don't know if it's just because he didn't respect Akhmedov's power, but I mean, he was just getting
foot
caught.
battle. He's losing the foot battle here. Akhmedov's right foot is on the outside, and he's coming forward. So when he tries to, if he would have tried to sidestep and pivot away, he couldn't because Akhmedov had him cut off. Again, like we've talked about many times before, lefty versus righty, that foot battle, Akhmedov is winning it here. That's why he can't pivot away unless he's going to move to his right, which would be Akhmedov's left, which is right into Akhmedov's power punch because he's a left-handed fighter. So if he tries to do that against Tank, and Tank gets that foot in there like he needs to, and he can't establish the distance against a guy who's half a foot shorter than him, and Tank's got that foot where he needs to, he can't spin off to his left like he wants to. He has to try and spin off to his right, which is right into Tank's power shot, the left hand.
Exactly. There, yeah, that's the thing, and I think that's what Tank is going to be looking for. Shout out to Amak PvP for his contribution with the super chat. Says Pedraza had better wins versus Loma than hold on, I lost the comment here. He said Pedraza had better wins versus Loma than against Tank. Pedraza had better wins.
Pedraza had a better win.
I think he means going into the fight versus Loma. Like he had more momentum than he did against Tank. Against Tank Davis, he was just an undefeated fighter, but he wasn't.
Well,
he didn't really have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to
that. May be
PvP.
true. There's also at a higher weight class. There's at 135, not 130.
Exactly, and when he fought Lomachenko, he respected Loma's power. He didn't respect Tank's power for whatever reason, and obviously it took 8 rounds, and he got stopped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
So
I mean,
he fought a total different fight.
Yeah, against Lomachenko, he was fighting like Lomachenko. He was trying to give him a taste of his own medicine. L-Dog in the chat says the fight is a weird one. He's talking about the Akhmedov Barrios fight. He says, in the first 5 rounds, I thought Barrios boxed well and actually took all the rounds. Then after the 5th, Akhmedov had a lot of success. The late knockdown won it for Barrios. Yeah, that was, we're going to take a look at more clips from that fight, but Akhmedov just turned it on and just started flooding Barrios with combinations. Again, Akhmedov threw about 900 shots in that fight, so I don't think Barrios was expecting that. Maybe he expected Akhmedov to fight him on the outside. Shout out to G Boogie for real quick. Shout out to G Boogie for his contribution with the super chat. He says Leonard Ellerby's nose is bigger than the Grand Canyon. If he sneezes, that's a mini nor'easter in Nevada. Come on, G Boogie. How are you gonna make fun of Ellerby's nose? He's not here to defend.
Well, the motherfucker would wear a mask too, all through COVID. Did you see the way the dude wore his mask, just like a chin diaper? His nose was exposed. that thing would send 300 BTUs a second of COVID in your face. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? But anyways, I wouldn't be surprised if you see some headbutts in there tonight, just because the stance that Barrios, if he comes in like that.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
And Davis can be a little gruff on the inside. If he feels like he catches a shot in the side of the head, he might come up quick with his head and catch him. But but that's
Hey, by the way, fellas, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the like button, fellas.
Headbutts.
Sorry, Chief, real quick. Don't forget to hit the like button, fellas. Really important. Really helps us out. Hit the like. Go ahead, Chief. Sorry, you were gonna say?
A headbutt's intentional. A clash of heads is something that happens by the technical breakdown. So Jimmy's completely right, but I don't think any of these are going to, well, in the heat of battle, you know what's going to happen, but in starting to set everything up, I don't think anyone's going to intentionally pull an Andre Ward and lead with their head.
Hopefully not, man. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's about as clean a fight as he can get.
But if they do clash heads, it would be more to take advantages, to take Tank Davis advantage, because that's not the way to say it. But because he's shorter, if he's bending down a little, that top of the head, that helmet head that he has, is gonna hit fucking Barrios like right around the I don't know, the eye area where the eyebrow, meets that bone where the bony part is.
Mm-hmm.
Most likely, that's where the top of the head's gonna end up for the taller man, the shorter man.
Right. Well,
Didn't benefit
speaking of,
Tyson like that.
was that?
He was a shorter man. It didn't benefit Tyson like that. He was a shorter man. He still got the. I guess it's who was tucking their chin more. Holyfield was tucking his chin more, trying to duck under Tyson's right, which was leading to headshots, and Tyson was leaving his head up, and that's why they got caught in the face.
Well, listen,
So
I mean,
if the headbutts are in there, but Tank's tucking his chin, then Gonzalez is completely right. It's not going to affect his face. But if he keeps his head up,
I think
then,
those were. I'm thinking those weren't head clashes. Evander Holyfield was deliberately headbutting, like you said. He was.
we'll do a fight analysis on that one time. That's a complete false, and I can show it, but that's beside the point.
Okay.
well, that's the other thing is that Tank Davis.
Don't buy it. Don't buy into.
Listen, Tank Davis.
Thug bodyguard.
Tank Davis is going to be way shorter than Akhmedov was here, so he could potentially get Barrios to lower his hands during these exchanges here. Because again, this is just way too many shots that Barrios is getting hit with. And again, if you get Tank Davis on the inside, like he is against Santa Cruz here, you just don't want to look at the difference between Akhmedov's shots and Barrios. I mean, and Davis. Yeah, Akhmedov is more of a volume puncher. You can see, well, not this shot here, but here, this one. Sits down on his shot, slips the left, and comes back with a mean left hand and just shoves Santa Cruz to the other side there, to his left. I mean, that's just blunt power there. They're catching him with uppercuts. And that's the thing, that uppercut here, that he waits for the taller guy to lean up against, that's a weapon that he could use against, and there's the money shot right there. That's the shot he can use against Barrios if Barrios does this. Because you can see how when Barrios goes to the body, he leans forward a little bit, and what else is he doing? He's making the mistake that the bully did against Rosado. He drops the other hand as he leans in with the shot. See, well, let's see if I can, like right there, and there. See that?
And by the way, BDA, I mentioned that he's gonna be wearing the no boxing, no life gloves that somebody posted that Canelo wears, and those look like a little small on the padding, on the front surface area. So we'll see how that benefits Tank Davis.
Well, I was just about to say too on this, the gloves he was wearing against Spanish kid he just banged out with the uppercut you just showed, Santa Cruz.
Yeah, little Santa Cruz.
Yeah, those are the fucking one the ones Barry Davis had on are the big padded ones. They're the ones they're usually if you have bad hands or you're protecting your hands. Those are the gloves you wear, which is surprising. Look at the size of those pillows.
But
that's what I mean?
Yeah.
He doesn't have. They usually wear horsehair, especially if you're a puncher.
What brand is that? Because there's no insignia on it.
Probably because he's not getting paid for it, so he's covering it.
Because it's not winning, right? Because winning, they have it right there on the top of the.
Yeah, but by the size of them, I mean, it could be Everlast, but they're the Champion Mob MX mod, not the MX, but see the Everlast he has on? I think the one Santa Cruz, he has the fucking horsehair. He has the puncher's gloves on. Usually a kid that young wears big poofy gloves like that if he has hand problems in the past or worried about hurting his hands. Because if I was a puncher like him, I'd have those fucking horsehair gloves on.
Yeah, well, now I think he changed that, so he's gonna be wearing the no boxing, no life gloves.
And are those horsehair? They're half and half, right? The ones that Canelo wear.
Actually, I'm not sure, but I think that they are for some reason. I speculate.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the now what Barrios has to do, which is the obvious point here, is to keep Tank Davis on the outside. He's shorter, he's got less reach. It's obvious. And against Akhmedov early on, he got that jab through, and Akhmedov has a long amateur career. He's a seasoned amateur veteran. He knows a thing or two about shutting out a jab, and yet he was getting hit with those jabs. Again, Barrios, long fighter. He's got quick hands, good timing, keeping him turning, moving towards his right, which is what you're supposed to do against the southpaw. And then we're gonna get to the more flashy stuff, which is the right hand. But see here, hold on a second. What was the clip here? There was a clip where he turned here. He jabs, ducks up against the left, moves back up, and as he's moving up, he pivots away from the left, and that right hook from Akhmedov slides off his shoulder, and he just keeps on moving. So he's got good footwork, Barrios. So if he can keep
He won
this...
he won the foot battle there. You're right. He won the foot battle there. His foot was on the outside. That's how he was able to slide off.
Mm-hmm. Now we get to the right hand. Now this is the right hand that started the knockdown procedure. It wasn't the one that dropped him, but it was the one that led to it. He waited for... See, Akhmedov does the Lomachenko thing where he likes to lean to his right, sort of as a feint or as a maneuver to pivot away and just create chaos within his opponent's mind. But Barrios this time, he timed it. He caught Akhmedov trying to go in there with a straight right. He sat down on the shot. Boom! Caught him right on the chinaroo there. You can see Akhmedov's head shaking. So Barrios got some pop on that right, and he made him do the stanky link dance.
But even the end of the fight, in the last round when he put him down, and it was just his gloves hit the mat. Mm-hmm. That wasn't like fight. That's so there's nuances in it too. So if I was judging that fight, I would have given that round a 10-9. I wouldn't have given him a 10-8 because I thought he lost the round that convincingly outside of the knockdown. So you don't have to automatically as a judge give a 10-8. If the guy loses every aspect of the round except for that knockdown, and then if you take in the fact that the knockdown was more of a flash down, I mean his gloves just touched the canvas, he got right back up, I would have definitely scored that a 10-9. I had him losing the fight.
Yeah, I remember watching it live. I had him losing it too, but if a judge decided to give it to Barrios 10-8, I mean I think that's what all of them did. But at least Jimmy, you didn't score it 10-10 like Teddy Atlas. Remember back in the day in the ESPN, he would give everybody a 10-10. You would look at the end of the fight with Teddy Atlas. He had about 5 rounds that he had him 10-10. I'm thinking, Teddy, what the fuck you doing? But then that's just Teddy's gonna do what Teddy's gonna do, right?
Well, no, but that's what they did to Holyfield against Michael Moore when he knocked him down in the second round. One judge scored it a 10-10. And that's what cost Holyfield the fight.
I mean, you can do that. They want you not to. Like the commissions will say, that's at a last resort doing a tie round. They want you to try to get a winner out of it.
Exactly.
But in some cases you have to, though. I can see some rounds it's just... I hate when it's like neither one of them done anything, so you're just going to, fuck it, I'll just give it to him. You know what I mean? Like, it should be a 10-10 in that time.
Yeah, I agree, man. And your point is well taken about this Barrios Akhmedov the last round. That it could have been 10-9 for Barrios. It didn't necessarily have to be 10-8. Now
exactly.
You see him here continuing to strike with that right. Some of them don't have as much pop as they did, especially as the fight went along and the pace sort of started getting to Barrios. But he's still getting that right hand, and he doesn't have to hurt or rock Tank Davis with every right hand. He just has to, speed can be a good shock or a good deterrent, I guess, certain fighters. I just don't think Tank Davis is built that way. I don't think he's going to taste the power and just go, oh shit, I don't want to take that one again. I think it's just going to motivate him to keep walking forward. But still, there we go. That's the last right hand there. Even though he's tired, you see his hands down, he was still able to get that right hand in there. That's the point of drills. Steps, put his weight on the back foot, sets himself up, boom, right on the chin. And you see when we talk about how to throw a right hand, that's perfect feet placement right there. See how he steps back, plants himself, and then when he pivots that left foot as he's throwing the right, as if he's throwing a baseball, in other words, and bends that back leg forward. And that's the perfect right hand right there. Could have even been a little bit better if he would have maybe put the... No, he did. He rose the elbow, went up there a little bit. So there you go. Boom. Flash knockdown. Akhmedov was tired too, so it was just a perfect punch there by Barrios. And this is where you can see here Santa Cruz, who's not the quickest guy in the world, catching Tank Davis with jabs on the outside. And you see there Tank Davis trying to catch him with that counter left. But he's still getting tagged a lot, very flush shots. And that's why I've never bought the whole Tank Davis pound for pound thing, because you cannot be pound for pound and have this type of defense where a guy is just hitting you flush with those type of... And that's nothing. We're going to get to the power punches in a couple of seconds. But
he was in love with that left uppercut, huh? All night he was searching for that. Fuck,
yeah.
How many times did he throw that?
But when you're fighting a guy who couldn't punch at bantamweight, you're probably not going to be afraid of his punch at 130.
That's true. That's a good point, though. Yeah, he wasn't looking for that one. By the way, we got Uncle Pete dropping by. Uncle Pete, is that you?
Hey,
How you doing, man?
Pete, you creep. What's up, brother?
How y'all doing?
Good. I'm gonna boost your volume up because you sound a little low, man. I don't want these degenerates talking all over you.
Thank you, sir.
That's what I do, man. We aim to please here at BDA Boxing. Pete, just before we continue on here, what are your thoughts on this Barrios Davis fight? Is this a fight that's worth purchasing for you, or are you gonna try to catch it on the radio, if you know what I mean?
I mean, if I get around to it, Sunday I'll watch it, but I don't understand how they're putting this up against Loma and the Loma fight on ESPN. Seems like suicide to me. But hey, I'm gonna hang in there and watch the film study and see if I can get fluffed up for this fight.
Fluffed up. All right, there you go. He's going back to the porn terminology there. Let's continue on then. And go ahead, Gonzalo.
When you mentioned uppercut, when you mentioned uppercut, Jimmy, I have noticed, doesn't Gervonta Davis throw that uppercut from afar sometimes, and that's not going to benefit him against a taller man, because that's a punch you really do not want to throw from the outside.
You're off balance.
And from the appearance that, what Barrios does well, that straight, accurate right hand that he can land, man. If Tank Davis does that, where he's not on the inside, he's going to get caught with some respectable power.
Yeah, you only do that when you don't respect the dude's power. If you start throwing fucking uppercuts that far away from somebody and just punches that you normally wouldn't do, yeah, it's because he didn't respect anything coming. I mean, even at the end, man, he was just letting those fucking shoe shine Santa Cruz fucking wrist swinging punches just bounce off him. Then he just caught him finally.
Or you do some things out of habit. And if he does this out of habit against Barrios, that can cost him. Because he's used to do it. He likes to throw that uppercut on the inside. He's good at it. He's very good.
Right? And again, because
it's
there's
powerful.
And because of bad competition, you just don't develop. You develop bad habits when you fight down. When you're constantly fighting guys.
That's what happened to Terry Norris before he fought Simon Brown. He was knocking everybody out. He got used to having to stay on his P's and Q's, and he got knocked out in 4 rounds.
That's right.
But he didn't fight all bums, though. He did take on Norris. Fought some good dudes, though.
No. I'm the last person that's going to tear down Terry Norris.
Oh, I know you like him.
Fighters.
No, I know.
But
I was just putting that out there for fans.
Fighters. True. Yes. Thank you for clarifying. But he got used to walking through people so much that he developed bad habits because he didn't have to capitalize on things. And Simon Brown exploited him. I don't think Barrios is as smart as Simon Brown.
Yeah, terrible Terry Norris, man. That dude was the shit. He could crack, boy.
I got to tell you something here, man. One thing that Terry Norris had was good footwork, and Barrios, he's going to have to use his to keep Tank Davis turning. And let me show you why I think that, because against Akhmedov, especially early on, Barrios showing good footwork, man, circling to his left, and he can also circle to his right, but he's got good, nifty little pivots there. As you can see, now what he's doing is, because in part it allows him, because he likes to shuffle away. So in this sequence, for example, he pivots away. Now that lead foot goes back so he can circle away. And then he just steps back from that left and keeps on shuffling away very quick there, using that left to control Akhmedov. See how he keeps him turning, changing sides, side to side, just keep pivoting. That's what he's going to have to do against Tank Davis, because again, Tank Davis is a guy that likes to set his feet so he can get maximum power. So if the guy's setting his feet that way, keep him turning. And throw some left hands while you're at it, like right there. Or there. Beautiful footwork from Barrios, like right there.
What got him was later when he let Akhmedov get too close. Again, I sound like a broken record. The foot battle came into play to where Akhmedov's foot was keeping him from pivoting away like that.
That's true,
As I pointed out earlier, though, yes, Tank can do this, but Tank squares up a lot. He squares up a whole lot. He may not have squared up as much against Santa Cruz and Gamboa, but that's only 2 fights out of an entire career that he hasn't shown the ability to keep himself at an angle with his foot in the front and bracing himself with the back. He likes to square up when he gets his guy against the ropes. Barrios could easily just do what Freddie Roach taught Pacquiao how to do. Once your back touches the ropes, if he's squared, pick a direction, slide right off, and you're already on the outside.
Excellent point, man. Excellent point. Yeah, nobody's got anything to prove by staying on the ropes. You know, there's a couple of fighters that out there that can do it, like Canelo. But like you said, Chief, those are the guys, the exceptions that prove the rule. And so Barrios, the last place he wants to be is cornered in the corner or on the ropes, because that's just going to be. Now, his combinations, the 1-2-1, that is a perfect combo to use against Tank Davis, because he likes to, against us, orthodox fighter, he likes to roll against the left. Against the right, like you can see here, and it sets him up for the left hand. He doesn't roll quick enough. Gamboa caught him with those type of combos. There you see there. Finishing, see there how he finishes up with the left. And Santa Cruz was doing the same thing, finishing with that left. Boom, catching him flush.
All right, buddy.
Catching him flush right there. Well, that wasn't a knockdown, but I mean, still, it's just... Could have been any other referee that made some mistake.
That's the most lethal combination. Go ahead, Chief.
No, go ahead, Gonzalo.
I think that's the most lethal combination you can utilize against a guy that throws hooks. The 1-2-1. And it's really effective, in my opinion.
BDA, can you go back to that, what wasn't a knockdown?
Sure.
When Tank went down, I want to see something if you don't mind.
There we go.
What? Yeah. Oh, it was a push.
Well, it's because if in the replay they show it that, see, at this point here, Santa Cruz has his left foot behind Davis's right one. And so here, see that? So since he was back...
He had it where it needed to be. Yeah, he had it where it needed to be, but not with the intention of tripping him.
Yeah, I don't think that was intentional. But still, I mean, if with the wrong referee, wrong angle, maybe the ref calls it a knockdown. You know what I mean? So that's what he's going to have to avoid.
Yeah, that's happened before.
Yeah, that's what he's going to have to avoid, because he just got hit. You've seen Gamboa do it here against Santa Cruz, getting hit with too many 1-2-1s. Now, does he not care? Maybe, but the fact is his face was marked up after the fight, and Barrios is a bigger puncher than Santa Cruz, and faster, I dare say. Although I will say Santa Cruz has better combinations, because he's just overall a better fighter than Barrios, I think, more skill. But see there, backing Davis up there with those combos. I mean, just see, that's not pound for pound defense right there. That's why I've never really ranked that Davis pound for pound, especially because obviously the lack of competition. Now, here you see Barrios making, he's going to want to have Tank Davis jumping towards him and leaning forward like Akhmedov did here, so he can catch him with this type of shots. See, they're keeping him at the end of those long arms. That is very good textbook stuff right there. So he steps back, slides back rather, right hand, left uppercut, a little left.
Then he needs to get out.
Yeah, then he needs to get
right
out.
Right after that, he might just work a little bit there, but after that, against Tank, do that and get out. And it's almost, even though it's a lefty and a righty, it's kind of what Buster Douglas did against Mike Tyson. Stick your jab out there, stick your jab out there. Once he steps in your range, take half a step back, throw a flurry, and move.
That's a good point, man. That's an excellent point right there. Yeah, he cannot stay there because, like I showed you in other clips, there's parts there where Barrios just stays there and admires his work, or he steps back there, close, and then he gets back, and whoops, what does he do? He backs up with his hands down. And I'm sitting and I'm thinking, what are you doing, man? I mean, I know it's easy to say don't do that when you're watching it. Meanwhile, he's in the ring. He's getting flooded by punches from Akhmedov, who's throwing about 80, 90 punches around. So it becomes a different thing. But still, I mean, whether it's because he's having a bad night or whatever, he cannot pull back with his hands down. That's going to be very bad news against Tank Davis, who can whack pretty hard. So those were the clips.
What do you say, BDA?
Yeah.
Akhmedov throws 900. Never mind if it's wrong that he does that. But do you think he could? He obviously got a good chin, right? 900 punches. If Tank Davis throws half of that, but they're more powerful. But it has something to say about Barrios' chin, that he can still carry his power late and drop the other guy and still be in there. I mean, he was taking the shellacking at times, but he holds up pretty good, right? That's the thing that I'm interested in seeing in the Tank Davis fight. I know Tank Davis is harder, but if he can withstand Tank Davis's onslaughts, man, we got to fight.
Exactly. That's what I'm. Thank you, Gonzalo, because that's what I wanted to reiterate, and what I've been trying to get across all night. There's a lot of ifs here, so let's go through them again. Can Tank Davis's power carry up to 140? Because I know people might say, "Well, why are you so hung up on the power?" Because hey, it's a big factor in boxing. You know, can you hurt the other guy? Can your punches get through to the other guy and wear him down? Because that's Tank Davis's game, by the way. He doesn't really outbox guys. You know, he counter punches, fights in spurts, wears guys down, and he takes him out. If he cannot do it against Barrios, what's the plan B? Can he walk forward like Akhmedov and throw 90 shots around? Barrios is at the same age, by the way, bigger. I wouldn't necessarily say stronger, because again, he has to cut weight to make this fight. Tank Davis doesn't, as far as I know. So he should be a little bit more comfortable.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Tank's a more powerful kid. Without a doubt, just body frame. Like if they were to sit down and go to a gym, like Tank would throw around weight that kid Barrios couldn't even dream of.
Leonard might have been able to do that against Tommy Hearns, but Tommy Hearns can crack harder. So this is not the case here. Barrios obviously can't hit like Tommy Hearns.
Yeah,
but he's got the leverage to do this kind of thing.
Well, but Hearns had like a fucking jacked up back. He was actually had round muscle bellies. He was a strong dude too. He could really crack. He was pretty muscular. This kid Barrios, if you actually look at him, he just doesn't have that type of frame. He's just a typical tough Mexican, you know, just can never take it away from him. They always come to fight.
A little more narrow built, you're right.
By the way, he sounds like Zoolander in the press conference. You know, they would ask him like, "How well prepared are you for this fight?" "I'm very well prepared. I think I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna show the world." I'm thinking, boy. What's that?
He's a skateboarder.
Oh, is he? Okay, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Well, what is he, a surfer or something too? Point Break. I mean, I don't know where these fighters are coming from nowadays. They're getting weirder and weirder by the day. With all those tattoos too. Speaking of weird, let's see if we can pick up some weird callers here. Let's go to the phone lines. 612, you're on the air. 612, what's on your mind?
Yeah, hey, what's up, guys?
How you doing, 612? What's on your mind?
Hello. What's on my mind is that I don't think that Mario Barrios just has the experience. I mean, just look at his record. He hasn't fought anyone at the elite level, and Davis has fought a slew of top elite fighters. I can't really recall all of them, but I think Liam Walsh, for example, is better than anyone Mario Barrios has fought. You guys agree? Liam Walsh was the guy from UK, right? That Tank fought like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, he was from the UK.
I think. Sorry,
I'm looking him up right now.
I'd say more domestic level talent.
Yeah,
than elite. I'd say Pedraza is one. Davis is one legitimate, like top end opponent. But then again, he was also emaciated going into that fight, weight trained. That's not Davis's fault, but that's just the facts of it.
Well, to point out the fact of the caller, Liam Walsh has only fought twice. He took all of 2018 off after he lost to Davis. He's fought twice since then against a guy who was 14-60 and 9-4, and he hasn't fought since 2019. So the quality of competition, I don't know. Walsh does not appear like he had a whole lot of world title fights before that. So it sounds like he was a British name versus anything else. I knew who he was, but he hasn't really been anything spectacular. And you're right that Barrios hasn't fought anything above that level, but by pointing him out, you're insinuating that Tank's fought something above Barrios' level when Walsh clearly isn't above that.
Right. No, I'm not saying. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not saying Mario Barrios is comparable to Liam Walsh. I'm just saying that I don't think I'm using Liam Walsh as a barometer of who the quality of opponents of Mario Barrios has fought. I don't think anyone is at least above Liam Walsh on Mario Barrios' resume.
Well, I mean,
point.
But I also like to say that. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No, there seems to be a lag. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. No. The one interesting thing though is that the height factor in the this is the first time he's fighting at 140. The height factor, and Mario Barrios, he's he's I don't know. You guys said he's a typical Mexican fighter, but he's not like the extreme prototypical Mexican fighter. If you guys agree, he has some decent boxing skills, and it's not all. You can see he's he has a bit of I don't know. He boxes more than the prototypical Mexican fighter. It's not all
Yeah, he's
pressure
not
with
a.
him. You
Yeah,
guys agree? I mean,
yeah, he's not Ruben Olivares in there. He's a long range. Look, he's not. People say
Yeah.
Mexican because he's of Mexican origin, but technically, I think he was born in the U.S. And he sounds more like a white guy than a Mexican guy. Because John Gonzalez in the chat says, yeah, he is a skater type fella. Because John actually, I think he met him once. I think he knows him through common acquaintances. So yeah, I mean, Barrios ain't no Mexican really. I mean, he looks Mexican, but he's actually where he grew up and all that culture. He seems to be more like a white guy. So his boxing.
He's that
style-
Mikey Garcia type of Mexican BD.
Yeah. Well, actually, I would dare say
give
even
him-
Mikey.
it's interesting. It's
Go ahead, caller. Go ahead, caller.
We'll give him
Sorry,
credit
guys.
because he calls himself El Azteca. So, all right.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he knows the Mexican
no, I mean,
fans
it's interesting how
spend money.
Also, he looks Mexican 100%.
Yeah, he looks Mexican 100%.
1,000.
I think he came out in the movie Apocalypto, right?
Yeah, he was a guy taking the hearts out there.
He looks way more Mexican than more Mexican than Canelo. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, absolutely. All right, listen, caller.
Anyways, just let me make one more comment. I gotta say that the one interesting thing about this fight is the height factor. So Davis is gonna have to take a bit more risk than he normally has. I mean, he normally has to because he's usually a short guy, but I don't think he's fought anyone with that discrepancy in reach. So it's gonna be interesting because he has to take those risks. And yeah, looking forward to it. All right, thanks, guys.
All right, thank you, man. Thank you for your call. Enjoy the fights tomorrow. Let's go to 704. You're on the air. 704. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I feel like I'm part of the minority here. I feel like I really don't feel like Barrios is going to be pretty much any trouble for Tank at all. I mean, and I may be like the only person that thinks this, but I mean, if you go back like a couple fights ago, I believe it was Akhmedov, right? It was this guy that only had like 7 pro fights and beat the hell out of Barrios, and it was like a blatant robbery. Like it outstruck him by like over 100 jabs, and yet they still gave the decision to Barrios. So if you look at, I feel like honestly Barrios is not going to be any trouble for Tank at all. I feel like it's just going to be, it's either going to be him walking Barrios down, or just going to be one of those robbery type fights where Barrios is just, keeping his distance with a jab, and then they're just going to give the decision to Tank. So I really don't feel like, or even can see how, Barrios can even win this fight in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, so you think that he's just going to walk through Barrios' shots?
Yeah, I feel like he's just going to walk him down, and not even respect Barrios' power. I mean, if you look at his record, I think he only has, 17 knockouts out of his, 20, 17 knockouts, but I don't think he has
26
the
wins
power
and 17
to
knockouts.
tank off of him.
Yeah, man, listen, my thing
Yeah,
about
I don't think
that
he
is...
has.
Listen, I'll put it this
go
way,
ahead.
man. If he walks through Barrios, he's still gonna have to take shots because Akhmedov had to work to get there. Tank Davis is gonna have to work. He's gonna get a hit. Now, whether he can take the power or not, that's one of the big questions. But if he can take the power and doesn't respect it, then it's gonna be up to Barrios to be able to keep him turning. Which, again, that's where your point comes in. He's never really fought anybody that's as good as Davis, unless Akhmedov shows up against Mendes on Saturday and actually blows him out of there. Then that would make Barrios look a little better. But your point is well taken, man. I mean, it could be. Look, you're not the only one that feels that Davis could walk through him. There's people that called in that said that. I know Jimmy has said that he doesn't think Barrios has much for Davis. So it's an interesting fight for sure, man, because you got different sides looking at it from different perspectives here as well. So are you going to be buying the fight, or I gather that you're not?
I mean, I feel like it's just a cherry pick, to be honest with you. I feel like it's just another easy belt grab for Tank. I mean, and I feel like Floyd and, Al Heyman and the PBC are kind of trying to make, Tank this big star, big pay-per-view star. And I felt like they looked at a guy like Barrios and said, oh, this is a perfect opponent because this is a guy who got fucked up and bruised and damn near fucking killed by a prospect out of Russia that nobody even knew about. And now we can put him in here with Tank because, I mean, let's just be honest. Tank is not going to go in there with a guy like Josh Taylor, Ramirez, or even Teofimo, in my opinion. I think that's a nightmare matchup for Tank.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're going to put him right in front of somebody that's going to be that's just going to not be able to put Tank off of him. And I feel like he doesn't have the skill nor experience to even. I really just don't see how he's going to win. And I may be wrong about this. I may be completely wrong, and he might, make me eat my words. But yeah, man, I feel like this is just basically, I feel like Al Heyman and Floyd are playing chess with Tank's career right now, and they're just going to keep putting opponents right in front of him until he becomes this huge pay-per-view star before we actually see the fights that we want to see.
Absolutely, man. Well, go ahead.
Caller, if I may, do you see this basically like a 140-pound fight of the last fight Tank had against Leo Santa Cruz, a tall, lanky guy for the weight division who may throw his punches well, but doesn't have a lot of power, so he doesn't have much to worry about, and it's just a way to showcase Tank?
Yeah, I feel, if you look at Leo Santa Cruz, I think he fought at 118 before. I think he fought at, super bantamweight or bantamweight before.
Actual bantamweight, yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and Leo Santa Cruz is a talented fighter, in my opinion. I think he's a really good fighter. But, I mean, I feel like they're just picking these up for Tank. And they're not bad opponents. I'm not saying they're, they're garbage men or anything. But I really feel like he's putting guys that are going to put Tank's career in jeopardy. And I don't feel like they looked at Leo Santa Cruz and said, oh, this guy could potentially knock out Tank. I really feel like they didn't. I don't think even Tank himself thought that.
To the caller, hey, you know what, man? That could actually prove to be dangerous for Tank because prior to the knockouts against Yuriorkis Gamboa and Leo Santa Cruz, he wasn't looking spectacular. Now we saw what happened with Montiel versus Charlo. When you're not pitted against a tough fighter, like Jimmy was alluding to, where iron sharpens iron, if he's not going in tough against these guys, man, he gets used to that. Now he's facing a bigger guy with a little bit more power than Leo Santa Cruz. So, yeah, it remains to be seen how he's going to deal with that. But, yeah.
What I notice is that they don't put him in there with guys who could punch. Tank Davis. They're not putting him in there with big punches. Guys with decent power, but they're usually small. They're smaller coming up in weight, and he's naturally bigger. That's why Mario Barrios, I mean, he's got a decent knockout record, but is he a guy that they fear has the type of power that can hurt Tank and stop him? Because that's Tank's. That's what I see. They're staying away from. They're staying away from guys that could punch really hard for a reason, I think.
Yeah, and I feel like, honestly, this is going to be a walk in the park for Tank, and I could be wrong tomorrow. I'm looking forward to, I guess, seeing or hearing about the fight, but I really don't feel like this is worth a pay-per-view buy. I'm not even.
You have every right to feel that way.
Tank.
You have every right to feel that way because it's a cherry pick. That's what it is. It could go wrong. The cherry pick could go wrong, but it is that. That's what it is.
Exactly. I was going to say the same thing, dude. But it's also, remember, Carl, this is for a junior belt. This is for a baby belt. It's not even the real one. That was established. I mean, I know that Ellaby said he's chasing glory, but Taylor already caught that glory. He's the fucking undisputed unified champion. So this is it's not even an insult. Dude, stop advertising it as a world title. It's a junior title. It's just a silly money-making But again, I'm 100% with you, dude. I don't see Barrios. I see Barrios as a talented kid. And if Tank had the progression that he should have, if he was fighting better and better opponents as the years went along, because look at the kid. You go back and watch him against Pedraza, how quick he was and focused. And he is a fighter. You can just see it in his face. That kid be, well, I guarantee you, brawling in the street if he wasn't in the ring. So, yeah, this is just, he hasn't gotten, I don't think he's been, to Gonzalo's point, sharpening his skills against tough opponents. That could be his downfall tomorrow.
Absolutely. Caller, thank you for anything else before we move on.
No, thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thank you for calling in. Catch you on the next one. And enjoy the fights tomorrow. All right, now listen, we will be taking the final predictions for tomorrow's fights. But I wanted to bring something up because, I mean, we've talked for about 2 hours now about the Barrios Tank Davis fight, which is, I think some people would say that's 2 hours too many that we should have dedicated to this fight, which could be a mismatch. But I want to bring something up as well. The Teofimo Lopez vs. Kombucha fight has been postponed for the third time. Of course, as you know, I think it was last week where Teofimo Lopez tested positive for COVID, and they moved it to August. Now they're saying September, and it's going to be on the undercard of De La Hoya. That's right, De La Hoya is coming back, taking on former UFC champ Vitor Belfort. So those two are going to be fighting, and Lopez versus Kombucha is going to be fighting on another card. I got to ask you, guys, does it seem a little bit too convenient that Lopez was not a big draw? All of a sudden, they pick this guy up, they pay him more than he really is worth. And now, did Triller end up having cold feet, guys, do you think? And that's why they keep postponing this fight?
Yeah, they're definitely nervous that they're going to lose money. They lost the whole senior citizen tour, and so they signed him on. But like Jimmy said, everyone thinks that you get into boxing, you just pour money into it, and it makes money back, and it doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it appears. That's what they did because they came in, they put on. Was Triller the one that did Tyson Jones?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so they did that. Did they do the Jake Paul thing?
Yeah, no, I don't believe so.
They did the Paul versus Askren. They did the Paul Askren,
Yeah,
but
that-
they didn't do
That's the one I was talking. That's the one I was trying to talk
Okay,
about.
yes.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you meant
So they did
Mayweather.
that. No, I'm sorry. Well, one Paul is a Paul to me. I don't follow the
Right, exactly. No, I hear you.
All right, the successful Paul, they did that fight. Okay, now we got a yes to that. So they had two back-to-back highly successful pay-per-views. So they thought everything was going big. Those companies left, and they during that process when they thought they were on top, they signed Lopez to not necessarily a big contract, but a big money fight, thinking they could keep raking it in. And now they're stuck with this. They're on the hook. They want a purse bid. They have it, and everything else has left them. This is all they have left. And the ticket sales aren't there, and the pay-per-view projections aren't going to be there because Lopez isn't a big enough star yet. He just finished being a prospect 2 years ago. He just became champion almost a year ago. And now they're stuck with this guy that isn't going to sell. It's not like an HBO contract. We sign him to the minimum and let him work his way up. You pay him good money, but you sign him to the minimum, and you put him out there for 6 fights, and all of a sudden he gets a following. Then you sign him to pay-per-views and a big contract. They went straight for the gusto. Hey, we're going to make this pay-per-view, and now they're stuck with it, and they're on the hook for $4 million to pay Lopez, and he's not going to bring it in.
Good for them.
A lot of people have probably forgot who Lopez is if you're not a hardcore avid boxing watcher.
Dude, he's barely known in New York, bro. He's barely known. Nobody knows who Teofimo Lopez is. Hey, Teofimo, who's that? Some guy from Brooklyn. He beat Lomachenko. They'll be like, who's that?
Exactly. And then on top of that, you look at him from a certain distance with his hairstyle, you're like, oh, wait a minute, did Danny Garcia lose did he gain some weight?
Yeah, exactly. He gained some
remember when I said
recognize. Barrios, John Gonzalez says he looks like Paco from Blood In, Blood Out. Remember the guy, the Black Rooster? The Black Rooster, remember when the cop stops him over? Hey,
Gallo Negro, 13 knockouts.
Well, remember when I said I thought the fucking COVID, the positive of COVID, I thought that was a crock of shit. Because if I'm not mistaken, I thought I read somewhere that Lopez was already inoculated, so got the vaccine. So that would have been odd.
Here's what you have to understand, Jimmy. You can still call in symptoms, and a doctor will diagnose.
Oh yeah, dude, yeah, you can, because college kids right now, it's the hot college kids all across the country being forced to get them. I'm only bringing that up to say, because it ties into this. A lot of kids don't want nothing to do with it because of the cardiomyositis and all that other shit. So they're finding counterfeit. They're nothing. They're as cheap as $10 here in Lowell to buy a fucking fake one, to get one of those things that you got vaccinated. But
Well, listen, I identify as vaccinated. That's all Teofimo Lopez had to say. He says, look, I identify as vaccinated. What the fuck are you going to do about it? Now, but Bob Arum has a real set of balls, saggy old balls, to blame Lopez. He goes, Lopez should have gotten vaccinated. Who the fuck are you to tell people that they should get vaccinated? What is this, Nazi Germany?
Should have got vaccinated. Yep.
This ain't Nazi Germany, man. This ain't Nazi Germany. I think Bob Arum, a guy who wears his hats the small size, if you know what I mean, should know a thing or two about that. Key. But anyway, listen, fellas, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. What was that?
Oh, nothing. I was going to say they were putting that off because they weren't getting. Listen, they were trying. They're also selling that. A big thing with that isn't just individuals buying it. They sell it to bars. You know what I mean? And nightclubs. They make big money on that. Upwards of $5,000 and up to rent it for a bar room. So they have salesmen out there trying to sell this fight. You know what I mean? And it's not being sold. The tickets aren't moving for it either. So because of that, Triller, I guarantee you it's all because of that. They're trying to put it off to generate as much money. But I think it's going to be a big wake-up call for Teofimo. Like, this kid thought he was all
somewhere Bob Arum is laughing, and on the other side, Lomachenko is mean-mugging him. Like, I'm going to fight you again, bitch. You're going to get in that ring.
I don't know. I think
we're fighting. We're fighting. I'm gonna go
dragged out.
I'm gonna go ham this time.
I think a certain someone's gonna be moving up to 140 as soon as this kombucha fight is done.
Oh yeah, I think so.
But anyway, listen.
You guys saw the Rocky V when I don't like to acknowledge that movie exists, but when that guy was, I'll bite Balboa's backyard. And the promoter stopped. He goes, "You'll fight who I tell you, when I tell you, and how I tell you." You got that? Bob Arum's in that seat right now with Teofimo. I can't make 135 anymore. I'm your promoter, bitch. You did this to me, and pardon my French. You guys know I don't like to talk like that, but you just did this to me. You tried to go to Trilla. You can't sell anymore. You're back with me. You're gonna fight exactly what I say, when I say, and how I say.
140 Taylor, 135 Lomachenko. Either way, you got to fight those guys.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
He just re-signed. I guess from what I just read, I guess.
He re-signed with
No, he re-signed with Top Rank, and I guess it wasn't just coming back to Top Rank. I guess when they met, they extended him. They gave him a 2-year extension. Obviously, throw some money up front. That helps heal wounds. But I guess, and the way Bob said it, he didn't sound like he was happy about it. Like, he doesn't think it's a great idea. But whatever. A part of that, supposedly, it was reported that it has to be a pay-per-view. Meaning, if not his first fight back with Bob, at least his next has to be a pay-per-view. So it has to be, Lomachenko, it has to be the Lomachenko status, Taylor, or somebody, because Bob at least isn't like fucking TMT. He's not going to just throw whoever in there and say, and put it on pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be worth it.
I can tell you this. If he's saying, you're struggling to make 135, okay, go for 147 fight Crawford.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, man. I could see that going on, man.
Put him in a trap. Okay, you don't want to fight Taylor. You got to fight Lomachenko at 135. Nah. So where you gonna go? No, I want to fight. No. You don't fight anybody in those weight classes except those guys.
Yeah.
All right, then I get 147. I can make my debut. Okay, you make your debut against Terrence Crawford.
I get a sense that Teofimo Lopez is not well liked by people, and I agree, man. Something about him.
I don't like him. I don't like him I want to see him get knocked out, but he could fight. I'll be honest with you, he could fight, but I want to see somebody break that bird nose.
Oh, come on, man.
He put himself in this position by making himself sound like a king when all he did was beat Lomachenko. Now, that was a big deal because of who Lomachenko was and still is regarding the sport, but that's the only fight you really accomplished major crossover stardom with. And now you're automatically trying to make it sound like you're the big bad man and the king of, everything south of 147. There's some other competition there. You've got to do something. And he even said himself, it's the Mayweather steps. When he was Money Mayweather, or not Money Mayweather, when he was Pretty Boy, he had to fight a bunch of fights to get to be Money Mayweather. Then he turns around and does the exact opposite. Okay, well, I beat Lomachenko, but now instead of fighting the rest of the 135s to launch myself into 140, 147, I'm going to try and hold myself out to the biggest bidder and this soon, and I haven't proven if I can sell yet.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
And by him being greedy, he's been inactive for like for like 1 year by the time he fights. And if he wouldn't have decided to like ask for more money, he probably would have fought earlier, would not have got the COVID, and would have had a quicker turnaround time to fight again for a big money fight later on in the future.
That's a good point, man. Right? That's a very good point. Yeah, that's true. See, that's the thing that like this Tank Davis too. Remember when he would take these fights against bantamweights? And you would think, well, if you're taking this fight now and it falls apart, now you got to fight another bum. And he's only fighting, he was only fighting one time a year at one point. So that's a lot of wasted time. And it's the same thing with these fellas here. They think that, oh, I'm young, I'm 24, I can take my time. Now you can't, man. At best, something you get 3 fights a year, maybe 2. And if something happens and it gets postponed or whatever, whoops, you just lost 6 months, you just lost the fight. So, and we're seeing now with guys like Charlo and Tank Davis, like Jimmy said, they're not fighting the best. And so when they finally, and they're not fighting that often, so then when they finally step up against a guy that's tough, whoops, all of a sudden their skills just aren't quite getting there anymore. So, I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. Hopefully Lopez continues taking on tough opposition after this kombucha fight, and we'll go from there, man. In any event,
hating on his beak, on his pelican beak nose. Stop it.
Yeah, man, it's recognized. He's a mean bastard, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Ever since he took... Yeah, you know what? Take some of that Novocaine that the dentist gave you. Something. Chill out, man. You're a little bit too strong out, man. It's that high testosterone of his, man. He wants to break Lopez's nose himself. No, but listen, I mean, tomorrow, if Lomachenko gets past Nakatani, which I think he should, unless something, Nakatani, he's a tough guy and all that, but, is he any better than Nicholas Walters? I don't think so. So, I mean, but that's what I'm expecting. I don't know.
No one's going to stop him.
Well, he should let his hands go if he wants to stop anybody, because taking the first 6 rounds off, it ain't gonna work out too much for him. But
ask Hagler about that.
What was that?
Ask Marvin Hagler about that.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Ask him about that and how it worked in Short Leonard. But listen, fellas,
he passed away. That kind of sad, though. No, luckily we're a little too late for that.
Yeah.
Kind of.
You talking about the cool?
He's gonna go to that body, and by the 10th round, it's gonna be sayonara, fucker. See you later, Yamasaki. Now look, guys, I'm sorry I've been in and out. Everybody keeps cutting in, but listen, about Tank here, I want to say one thing. I don't want to interrupt the film study, but what's the connect percentage on those uppercuts? I mean, you can throw full speed uppercuts. If you throw 75 of them in a fight, one of them's going to land. I mean, you will land one of them, but you look at his low output. Try throwing uppercuts into like shadow boxing, but throwing uppercuts full speed, man. That's once sooner or later, if a guy's got no power to keep him honest, he's gonna keep winging it. One will land, and then you're gonna have a Santa Cruz situation on laying there like a chalk outline around him. So,
well, the uppercut, it's one of the sneakiest shots to land if you're in position. But the key word, you got to be in position to do it. Once you're in position, man, you throw that shot, there's a good chance that the opponent's not gonna see it coming because it comes from underneath. But
okay, but he misses the first 20. He throws 20 and misses. It's not sneaky anymore. In other words, we understand he's going to try to walk you into an uppercut. He can expose himself all he wants, because what's Leo Santa Cruz going to do about it? Not knocking Leo, but he's a smaller guy. So look, I mean,
Leo's close. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, Pete, you were finishing a point.
You know what? It wasn't even important, but I'm just saying that's my only thing about Tank. I'm not hating on him. He is a goddamn bridger weight in between fights. This kid's like, holy shit. But anyway, he no problem with him, but man, that fucking uppercut is nice, but when it lands, but the percentage has got to be 15%, 20%.
Yeah,
when you're throwing against Santa Cruz and he's closer to your height, you're going to have the impact at the right spot. When you got to throw it up another 5 inches, John Ruiz threw it against that not Kovalev, the heavyweight, the Russian
Valuev.
7 foot tall.
Valuev.
Yeah, Valuev. And it didn't have any effect, not just because he was 300 pounds, but because he was throwing it up. The way to land it was like above his head.
Well, when they miss, when you miss, they're all the height. It's taller than any of these guys. When you miss, the point is, does Barrios have enough pop to make him pay for missing like that? I don't know the answer to that question.
That's a very fair question, but at the same time, the impact. If your impact is roughly at your shoulders when you're connecting with the other guy, when you're throwing in your arm's already extended at the uppercut, you've already thrown it all the way, and then you still have another inch to go till you can hit the guy in the chin.
Oh, I hear you.
It loses everything. So the way to avoid that uppercut being a situation for Barrios is fight tall. You fight tall, the uppercut's gone. There's nothing on it, so it won't matter.
I mean, he's 5'10", and Tank Davis is 5 feet 5.5.
Whoa!
So yeah, it's gonna be he's up against it, literally up against it, Tank Davis. So we'll see what happens with him. Maybe tomorrow it's gonna be a rainy afternoon over here. I might do a second renaissance tomorrow afternoon.
It is fucking pouring down here in
yes.
Florida. God damn it.
And
Are you
listen,
taking predictions, BDA?
well, listen, yeah, let's take predictions right off the bat here. So
I'll go last.
you'll go. No, actually, you'll go first because I tell you when you go, Chief. Don't start running. No, I'm kidding. Now, listen. Okay, let's go to Gonzalo first. Gonzalo, for Lomachenko versus Nakatani, how do you see it going?
I see Lomachenko winning a decision.
All right.
Sorry about that. I see Lomachenko winning a decision, but you know what? He gets dropped. He gets dropped one time by a punch. He doesn't get necessarily hurt, but he gets dropped, but he wins a unanimous decision.
Okay. Now for the Tank Davis fight, who do you see winning that one?
I think I'm gonna give it to Tank Davis by a majority decision. Not split, majority. I think the difference between split and majority, split is when you have two like 115, 112s, but then you have the other guy winning along with that 115, 112, for example.
Yeah,
a majority is like two clear scorecards for one guy and one clear scorecard for the other. So I see two judges clearly giving it for Tank Davis. So he wins a majority decision. That's my
Majority decision is 1 draw and 2 for the other guy. A split decision is 2 for one judge and 1 for the other.
Yeah. All right. So
one draw, one. Okay. Yeah, 1 draw and 2 for the other guy.
Correct.
Or what about? It could also be 1 and 2, right? That's
actually,
a majority decision.
Unanimous decision is 3 judges for one guy. A split decision is 2 for one, 1 for the other. A majority decision is 2 for 1, draw on the third.
By the way, 2 for 1. That's tonight at my local whorehouse, so I'll have to try to get out of here as soon as possible.
I'm gonna say majority.
Majority. That's very specific of you, Gonzalo. I'm telling you, Gonzalo goes for it, man. He doesn't fuck around. All right, let's go to Jimmy. Lomachenko Nakatani. Who do you got on that one? Jimmy?
He doesn't care.
He's telling me he's silenced.
You hear me?
Barely, man. Barely. Oh, there you go.
I hear him talking. It's like he's falling out of a window.
You hear me?
Now I can hear you a little bit better. Yeah, now I can hear you a little bit better there. Now I can hear you a little bit better. Go ahead.
Okay. A little bit better. All right. Lomachenko. I have him. I don't think he's gonna fucking put himself in a position to get hurt or anything. So it'll probably go the distance. But I'll give him a unanimous decision because that kid has a lot of heart. I don't know if he's gonna really try to stop. But I wouldn't be surprised if he stops him late, just from a combination of one of those things where like, okay, the kid's taking enough shots to the head type of deal, and the corner throws in a towel. I don't see the kid quitting at all. It's just not in that fighter. But I see Lomachenko. I think going down the stretch when that kid starts getting really winded, going to work on him. But yeah, that's my Loma. And at Davis, I just don't. And again, I'm sticking with. I think he's going to take that kid Barrios out, and then Ellaby's going to take out full fucking go crazy on Twitter about how now he's a 4th division champion, knocking out fucking undefeated champions. It's just the grift will be even heavier.
I'm going to put you down for Davis stoppage. So any form of stoppage will be acceptable right there. But yeah, LRB. And also, okay, I'm going to write that down. Davis stoppage, LRB goes berserk.
LRB's going around with his nose wide open.
Okay, would you guys stop it about his nose, man? Hey, by the way, a guy got into a fight with LRB, and LRB, all he does, his technique is he tilts his head up so the fist goes into the nostril and they get stuck there, and then he just punches guys in the stomach, punches them right in the belly. And that's a great technique right there. Let's go to Pete. Lomachenko versus Nakatani. Who you got for that one?
I got Loma. Listen, I don't think he's going to make the mistake of going into a fight unless he's physically. I don't think he's going to roll the dice like he did in that TO fight. He's going to come back and make a statement. He's going to stop Nakatani in about the 10th round to the body. Listen, I'm not Teddy Atlas, but look, these Japanese guys, don't headhunt against these guys. They got no chin, and I don't mean in a bad way. Physically, they don't have a fucking button. They don't have nothing to clip, you know? Their mandible, I'm saying, it's just like, there's nothing to hit. Go to the body, and let's take this guy out like Admiral Yamamoto.
Oh, come on. Now, wait a minute.
He's going to stop him, and Loma's back.
Pete's living in the 1940s, man. He still got something as Japanese, man. He's like, they attacked us. They took us by surprise. Let's get the fuckers. Like, whoa, take it easy, man. There's a lot of aggression there. Stop Asian hate.
I love the Japanese people.
Yeah, stop the Asian hate, man. What's the matter with you? I think I saw Pete in a video.
Sumimasen.
All right, so you said Loma by, what was it then? Loma decision then? Stop it.
What, I speak Japanese?
Yeah, you are actually kind of, man. Yeah. You're speaking crazy. That's what you are. All right, and Davis. Tank Davis versus Barrios.
I don't understand what the deal is with this pay-per-view. It's going to set records for probably the least amount of buys. I don't care what anybody says. I don't understand putting this head-to-head with a free fight on ESPN. It's not, no one's going to buy the fight. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. He's probably going to fucking win. Probably unanimous decision. Probably unanimous decision, Tank. But what the fuck are they thinking?
I'm going to ask you the same question. What are you thinking with all that swearing, especially on this show? It's a family show, and you're
we're
going
all
around
men, you know, we're all men here.
Like in you're not at my local whorehouse, right? That type of salty language is acceptable there, but not in here, buddy boy. All right.
Justin, so we got. Trudeau, he's going to stop him, and I don't know what the freak they're thinking.
So free.
What they're doing, putting this fight up against a free fight on ESPN is just. I'd love to see the numbers. It's going to be horrible.
Oh, it's stupido.
Yeah, that big nose of Teofimo's, and Ellerby's got. Hey, listen. The only time I'm giving Tank Davis $75 if it's some kind of a hand-to-hand transaction late at night.
Oh, wait a minute.
Something maybe, but if Loma Nakatani was 75 and Tank was free, I'd buy Loma Nakatani.
Oh,
how are you gonna watch that fight when the fight's going on?
I gotta tell you, Pete's on fire, man. And I heard somebody speaking a foreign language. I thought it was Bucho, but apparently it's recognized. How about you, man? Prediction time. Lomachenko versus Nakatani.
Who's fighting again?
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going
Charles.
Oh, that's a good fight. Against who? No, I got
Jimmy Young.
That's it. I'm going Charles. Knockout. Motherfucker. But yeah, I think not Tio, excuse me. I think Lomachenko wins. I think he's going to stop him in the later rounds. I think the fight's going to be a little tricky in the beginning for Loma. It's going to be a little tricky for him, but he's going to figure him out. Sort of like in the same way Pedraza was a little tricky in the beginning of the fight. But I think he'll figure him out, start dropping him a bunch of times, but he'll get stopped, like in the 11th round. Tank Barrios, man, I'm almost tempted to go Tank by knockout early, but I have a feeling this kid's going to go pretty far and take him out of the first 6 rounds. I'm gonna say Tank wins by unanimous decision. He drops him like twice, but this kid is able to survive the fight because he's big. And Tank wins by UD.
All right,
that's my pick.
My man.
That's a good one, man. That's a good one. Chief, how about yourself, man? Lomachenko Nakatani.
See, Loma, like you said, same as against Pedraza. Starting off, feeling him out, using a lot of movement. I don't think his feet can do what he did against Pedraza, so he's going to be a little more flat-footed. But he'll still be moving in and out, and he'll use more upper body movement. The body shots will work their way in because I've compared him to Jeff Hardy. Doesn't hit hard to the head always, but can nail it to the body. So once he gets inside and starts working that body, he'll start bending Nakatani over. And then our friend Mark came in and said that thing about the punch resistance to Nakatani. I'm going to say that once
Loma can start getting to his face, will slowly start to hurt him, and the kid won't quit, but the corner might stop it late if it doesn't go the distance. So if Loma wins by knockout, the corner stops it from a beating, or else it goes to unanimous decision. Tank and Barrios has been my question mark from the beginning. If Tank comes out aggressive to try and walk him down, I think he gets a mid to late round stoppage from walking the kid down, but he's gonna take a lot of punches in the process. If Barrios can punch harder pound for pound than his division, the Leo Santa Cruz can in his entire career, then he'll take some punches. He might even get knocked off balance a few times. But I still think, again, body shots are going to come into play if he can't protect himself against them, and that'll be the wear and tear factor. And I'm predicting a late round stoppage for Davis.
Sorry, so Davis late round stoppage, but I didn't quite catch the Loma 2 was a stoppage, you said, or?
Loma, the corner will either throw the towel in from Nakatani taking a beating once Loma gets in there and starts just letting his hands go from multiple angles that he won't be able to stop, or it'll be a unanimous decision.
All right, there you got it.
If it's a stoppage, it'll be late from the corner. I don't think Loma's got the power to knock him out. He has the power to wear him down. Loma has the power to knock him out at lightweight, but he can hurt him and he can wear him down from accumulation of shots.
There you go. Okay, so I'm gonna say Loma decision. I agree with you, fellas. Well, most of you. I don't think he's gonna stop. I think he's gonna befuddle him, and I think he's gonna look a little bit like the old Lomachenko, a little bit like Nicholas Walters. Just turning him. I think that's gonna. And I'm gonna go ahead and say Barrios by decision. I'm gonna go with the upset, man. I think he's just gonna tag him. Actually, no, sorry. I'm gonna go with Davis. But I think he's going to look bad. He's going to eat a lot of shots going in there. I'm going to go with Davis by a controversial stoppage.
Nice. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on. I like the first...
Controversial stoppage? Like a razor-running Mike Tyson thing?
Well, he's just going to fucking bang him a little bit, wear him down. He's still going to be in the fight, surviving, but then the ref's going to step in and he's going to complain, like, what are you doing? And then Tank's going to celebrate as if he just got the... Yeah.
And who's that? George Willis? The referee?
Oh, I don't know who it is, man. But I'm assuming maybe it could be what's the other guy's name? The guy that let Maris hit
probably fucking dickhead.
The referee Thomas
Taylor. The Loma fight, Nakatani goes, he befuddled me, Lomachenko-san, befuddle.
Okay, come on, man. You know what? Nakatani, I think his brother's the guy that was trying to tell those gangsters in Donnie Dark, and what was his name? In fuck. The Johnny Depp movie there, the mafia. I'm forgetting the names now, but
Donnie Brasco.
Donnie Brasco. I was saying Donnie Darko. Yeah, Donnie Brasco. You remember the Japanese guy that tries to get the gangsters to take the shoes off? I must insist. That's gonna be the stupidest thing. He wasn't Japanese. I think he had Down syndrome. That's why he was acting like a fucking idiot, man.
Yeah.
Nakatani's eyes are already swollen shut.
When he didn't want to take his, the smart guy that I am, I'd be like, all right, this guy's a rat. He didn't want to take his shoes off.
Yeah, that's right. You would have smelled it.
I would have been like, he's a rat, this guy.
Bullshit. All right, anyway, listen, we got to go. Shout out to High and Low Sports Centrum. I forgot to read his super chat way back, but we had a lot going on. And he says, buy the book. I think, I don't know what he was trying to say. I guess it's in the context of what we were talking about at the time. But shout out to you, High and Low Sports Centrum. Sorry it took so much time to read it. Kenshiro, shout out to Kenshiro for his contribution with the super chat. He says, what do you guys think of Mikey Garcia versus Tank Davis? I actually think Mikey Garcia 2015, that would have actually been a good fight. 2014 Mikey Garcia. Now, it's two fat kids fighting each other, in different weight classes. I wouldn't be too interested in it. Chris K.
Don't be surprised if that's the first title defense if Tank wins this, though.
There you go. Chris K. Shout out to Chris K for his contributions. Lopez is docking kombucha with those fake COVID results. Loma stops Nakatani late with bodywork. As long as the shoulder is good. Tank versus Barrios. Four Z's meaning.
Smart man.
Yeah, undercover Asian. He's got that Asian IQ man going for him. And shout out to Cerny Banner says bomb squad. Bomb squad. I think he meant bomb squad. And he says, and U.S. Trump won. U.S. Well, I don't know, man. The audits are still going on. But even then, I think the CNN was saying, well, even if they prove that there was malfeasance there with the results, Biden will still be president. So essentially, they're admitting that there was some shenanigans going on, but
Exactly.
there's
But
nothing.
this is what they say. So what? We cheated. We still won. Okay.
Hey, but,
We
hey,
can't
remember,
overturn-
but hold on.
we can't
Remember, a
overturn
pipe. You got to remember a pipe burst. So they had to get everyone out of there when they were counting the votes, and they had to also.
That was in Georgia.
And they had to block the windows. They had to block the windows too at a voting center. That's completely normal. There wasn't anything wrong there.
Let me tell you what they did. They took the results. They knew at the end of the night what the exact score was going to be. They already knew, and so they said, "How can we get that and do it reverse?" And so they said, "Okay, I got a plan. Stop the whole thing." And that's what they did, and then they reversed it. The number you saw that this guy won is really the other way around.
I
Recognize.
disagree.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, can I just say real quick on that? Listen, I don't know if you guys, you got to go behind a paywall, but Tim Pool, his IRL off, he had Steve Bannon on 2 nights ago, dude, and it's off the pay so they can say whatever they want without censorship. Holy fucking shit. I'm not even going to bother getting into it, but it blew my hair back, the shit he was saying, and he was bringing up facts, and all those guys were like, wow, it's not over by a long shot. They got think tanks. They have hired armies of fucking geeks, computer geeks, he was saying, Trump family, and they are going through each vote one at a time, verifying locations, people who are supposed to live there. So I don't know where it'll end up. I'm not thinking that far ahead, but you guys should watch that. It's crazy.
All right.
I
Well,
will
listen.
watch
With
it,
that
but it
being
won't end
said,
up anywhere because we got to wrap up the show. But it's too late.
Well,
You've already
listen. I'm trying to keep these shows.
But it would show that they stole the election. I mean, if that's still a huge thing. That, you know what I mean?
True.
Like if they can prove that they actually fucking stole the election, that needs to come out. They'll change history. That's all
Jimmy,
I'm saying.
stick
Like,
around
that
after
can't
the
happen.
show and we'll talk about it so BDA can close up.
Yeah, I gotta close
Oh,
this
guys,
off.
I thought you were off. Oh, I'm
No,
sorry. I
we're
thought you
still
guys
on.
were already
What the
off
fuck?
when you were talking about that.
I'll
That's
tell
why.
you when we're off. How about that,
I couldn't-
motherfuckers? I'll tell you, motherfuckers.
I can't hear. I didn't think you guys could hear me
No,
because
I
I
don't
couldn't
like
hear
your
the half
arrogance.
shit being said.
All right, but listen, hold on.
Arrogance, BDA.
Oh, I'm
too
sorry.
arrogant.
I'm
No,
sorry.
I just
Hey,
paused
boxing
because
chief
it's
stepping in
thinking
like a
fuck go eat.
co-host here. Low rent King Bucho. Who do you think you are?
Hey, I'm
that?
the high rent King Bucho. Let's get that straight, all right, Pete? Because you're drinking beer now, all of a sudden you're getting your courage back. Shut up. But listen, we'll talk about these things later on. Well, you guys can stick around if you want. I gotta go. By the way, if you want more of your boxing needs taken care of, I think Thunderdome is streaming right now. I might drop by there if he's putting a StreamYard link. I'll try to hop by there. But again, I'm curious to hear what Thunderdome has to say about Lomachenko. So make sure you go on over there to Thunderdome and listen to what he's got to say. And if he has a panel on, hopefully I'll try to jump in, man, because I want to hear what he has to say as well. So shout out to all you
Me
fellas
too.
out there. Yes, indeed. Shout out to you fellas. Shout out to Recognize, Jimmy, Gonzalo.
That's right. Shout out
Chief,
to me.
Go eat.
Uncle Pete. Shout out to you fellas. And hey, Jimmy, if the Canadians win, ooh-wee, it's gonna be a party here in Montreal.
Dude, that would be a
shit.
fucking. That'd be like
Pete.
one of the biggest upsets ever.
Time
There
for a
you go.
haircut, Pete.
I know, man. I look like a fucking deranged. Look at this shit.
Look like a
Smell like
hippie, man.
Elvis.
Look like a hippie. What's the matter with you?
I'm undercover.
You gotta
All
get
right, let's get off
yourself.
here so Jimmy can drop the N-bomb. He likes to do that when we get off.
There you go. Throw that on there. Throw that out there, buddy.
You know, people
There
are
you
gonna
go.
think you're talking. People are gonna think you're being serious. All right. Anyway, listen. Shout out to everybody out there. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Shout out to everybody that donated with the super chat. Shout out to the Fight Scout, Straight G Turo, Mr. E, Yermi Yahoo. What the fuck is a black Muslim there? Amak PvP, 1 foot out the door. Adam P, Cerny
I
Banders.
like that name. 1 foot out of the door.
1 foot out the, yeah, that's what I got right now. Trying to get out of here. The Straight G Turo, Dreday, Flycat, KS, Freddie Mars, and many more people that went by there. Guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Again, shout out to you fellas on the panel. Hope you guys enjoy this. Have fun tomorrow. Enjoy the fights. And we will catch you on the next one. Take it easy, folks.